Chapter 1462. The corners of Yin Luofeng's eyebrows twitched. The reason why the little tree wanted her to go to the miraculous site was simple. She was hungry. Now, ordinary medicinal herbs that evolved from medicinal herbs could no longer satisfy his requirements. The herbs he needed must be at least 1,000 years old. Without a fortuitous encounter, it would be very difficult to find such an old medicinal herb. The next day, Yin Luofeng brought the small tree to Mount Ai. Fortunately, Mount Ai was very close to the inn she was staying at. It would only take half an hour to get there. Now, Mount Ai was filled with people. Apart from those who had formed alliances, there were also other experts who were free, just like the woman that Xiao Shu tried to hit on yesterday. "It's you?" The woman turned around and saw Xiao Shu walking into the mountain. A smile appeared on her face as she slowly walked over. "Auntie, thank you so much for yesterday," said the small tree politely. The woman smiled and looked up at Yin Luofeng. "Is this your mother?" From the beginning, TT's gaze was fixed on the woman, its eyes filled with vigilance. However, when it sensed that the woman did not have any ill intentions, it relaxed and lay down on the head of the small tree. "Hello." After seeing the small tree nod, the woman extended her hand towards Yin Luofeng. "My name is Yin Ku. How should I address you?" "Yin Luofeng." Yin Luofeng slowly said his name. Ahem. When a young man beside Yin Ku heard Yin Luofeng's name, he could not help but cough dryly. There was a strange look in his eyes. Yin Luofeng's perception was very sensitive, so he naturally felt the strangeness of these people. He unconsciously frowned. "What's wrong? Is there something wrong with my name?" The woman smiled gently. "Lady Yin, perhaps your name is just a coincidence, but I still want to remind you, don't ever say that your name is Yin Luofeng." "Why?" Yin Luofeng's eyes were filled with confusion. He clearly did not understand what was going on. Yin could carefully scan her surroundings. When she saw that no one was looking in their direction, she then said, "Because the 3 words Yin Luofeng are currently a taboo in the 7 continents. It is said that if you say these 3 words and the East Continent's Continent Lord Mansion's Lady Hongwan hears it, she will beat you half to death." Yin Luofeng was stunned. "Hongwan? What did this have to do with Hongwan? I was in closed-door cultivation for 3 years. I don't know what happened. Why did the mention of this name cause Hongwan to be angry?" Yin Ku glanced at Yin Luofeng in astonishment. No wonder he didn't know that these 3 words were taboo. So, it was because he was in closed-door cultivation. It's like this. In the end, Yin Ku decided to take a risk and tell Yin Luofeng about this name. 3 years ago, the people of the Poison Valley killed a woman named Yin Luofeng, who knew that this Yin Luofeng had connections with various forces. First, it was the June family's old Master June. Then, the Eastern Continent's Continent Lord Manor and the Western Continent Academy attacked the Poison Valley together. Originally, this matter was only related to the Poison Valley and would not implicate anyone else. However, Hongwan's temper is rather violent. Once, she passed by a restaurant and heard someone mention Yin Luofeng's name. She immediately went up and beat that person up, almost beating him to death. Yin Luofeng was completely stupefied. He had been killed by someone from the Poison Valley? When did this happen? Moreover, even though Hongwan's personality was overbearing, she would not be rude. It was likely that those people who were talking about her had said something, or perhaps they were gloating over her misfortune, which made Hongwan so angry. However, as the rumors continued to spread, the situation naturally changed. Chapter 1463. "Miss Yin, I've already told you the reason. Don't ever say those 3 words again. Otherwise, if Hongwan hears about it, she will definitely cause trouble for you." Yin Ku spoke carefully, afraid that her words would be overheard by others. "I understand." She finally understood why the 2 great forces had attacked the Poison Valley. It was all because of her. Actually, the Poison Valley was not wronged. If Jiju Qian had not been by her side, perhaps she would have fallen into the Poison Valley's hands. However, when these words fell into Yin Ku's ears, she thought that Yin Luofeng had listened to her and subconsciously heaved a sigh of relief. "Auntie," Xiao Shu smiled at Yin Ku. "When can we go up the mountain?" The people beside Yin Ku were stunned when they heard this. Was this little fellow planning to stick to their group? After all, Mount AI was filled with danger. Bringing along a weak woman and a child would obviously be a huge burden on them. As for the strong puppet following behind Yin Luofeng, even though it looked rough and tough, they could not sense its true strength. However, before anyone could object, Yin Ku was melted by Xiao Shu's words. How could she refuse any of his requests? We can go up the mountain any time. Little fellow, are you and your mother willing to travel with us? Xiao Shu's smile grew even more radiant. Thank you, Ani. After all, he and Yin Luofeng had just arrived and were not familiar with the situation. If they followed these people, they would definitely be able to avoid many detours. This was Xiao Shu's goal. Junior's sister. The expression of the youth in embroidered robes changed greatly, and he frowned. It would be fine if these two were quite powerful. However, one of them is a child, and the other has no spiritual power. Aren't we just asking for trouble by bringing them along? Senior brother, don't worry. I know what I'm doing. Don't worry. Yin Ku frowned. Moreover, we're here to broaden our horizons. We're not really here for the treasures in the divine ruin. Seeing that Yin Ku was determined, the youth in embroidered robes did not say anything else. He sighed softly, and his expression was full of helplessness. Little fellow, I haven't asked for your name. Yin Ku really liked children. Otherwise, she would not have been willing to bring Yin Luofeng and Xiao Shu along. Xiao Shu blinked. My name is Yin Shu. Yin Shu? Yin Ku was stunned. Someone would come up with such a name? This name did not match the little fellow's delicate features at all. Let's go. Yin Ku did not think too much about it and returned to her senses. There are already many people on the mountain. If we don't hurry over, the treasure might fall into the hands of others. Although Mount AI was not as dangerous as other places, there were countless traps. Furthermore, there were many people who had come this time. Moreover, there were many people who had come. Along the way, Yin Luofeng found out that the young man in embroidered robes was called Fujin. He and Yin were fellow disciples of the same sect. However, they had left the sect a long time ago to wander the continent alone. In the team, there was another strong man, Zhao Hong. Apart from him, there was also a handsome young man. Although his strength was very weak, he was the only doctor in the team of 4. Chapter 1464. These two people were friends that Yin Ku and her senior brother had met on the road. After they had a mutual understanding of each other, they had decided to travel together and explore the dangerous places of the mainland together. It's getting late. Should we rest first and set off tomorrow? The delicate-looking youth looked at the dark sky, then turned to look at Yin Ku and the others and suggested, Qi Xiao is right. Mount AI is very dangerous at night. Let's stop for the night and continue tomorrow. Yin Ku nodded, agreeing with the handsome youth's suggestion. At this time, there were already many forces setting up tents on Mount AI. After Qi Xiao set up his tent, he saw Yin Luofeng sitting under an old tree with her eyes closed. He was stunned and said, Miss Yin, did you not bring a tent? Why don't you and Yin Ku squeeze in? No need. Yin Luofeng shook her head and said in a light tone, I don't need a tent. Seeing that Qi Xiao wanted to say something, Fu Jin walked to his side. Since they don't want to accept help, you and Yin Ku don't need to care about them. They can do whatever they want. What does it have to do with us? Finally, Qi Xiao sighed and walked back to his own tent. The nights on Mount AI were very long. To the current Yin Luofeng, her mind was filled with the figure of the man who was as cold as a hawk. But she didn't know when she would see him again. Yin Xiao, where are you? How did you survive these 3 years that I wasn't here? She could imagine the man's madness when he heard that she had died in the hands of the Lich clan. So, she couldn't imagine how Yin Xiao had survived these 3 years. Mother. The little tree seemed to feel Yin Luofeng's sorrow. He climbed on her body and revealed 2 cute little canine teeth. His little palm patted her head like a little adult. Don't worry, Father will definitely come find you. Yin Luofeng's heart suddenly moved. Indeed, if she went to find Yin Xiao, it would be like finding a needle in a haystack. If she spread the news that she was still alive, those people would definitely come find her after hearing it. Thank you, little tree. Yin Luofeng smiled. Her smile was very beautiful, so beautiful that even the moonlight in the night sky couldn't compare. The sky began to brighten. Yin Luofeng, who was meditating, suddenly heard a commotion in front of her. She slowly opened her eyes, and a cold light flashed in them. Junior sister Yin Ku, junior brother Fujin, long time no see. I didn't expect to see you here. When Yin Luofeng raised his head, he saw a handsome man standing in front of Yin Ku and the others, speaking in an arrogant voice. Yin Ku's face was ashen. She clenched her fists tightly and glared angrily at the handsome man in front of her. Fujin and I have already left the sect. What else do you want? Tisk, just saying that you're leaving the sect can erase the mistakes you made in the sect. The handsome man's lips curled into a smile. His eyes were filled with disdain as he stared down at the people standing in front of him in a domineering manner. If it wasn't for your master pleading on your behalf, perhaps you would have been punished to death by my father. Bang! Yin Ku couldn't control her temper in the end. She punched the handsome man in the face, her eyes flashing with anger. You still dare to say that? Back then, you were delusional enough to humiliate my sister. I was the one who hit you to avenge my sister, who knew that you couldn't tell right from wrong and actually wanted to kill me because of this. Chapter 1465. Yin Ku gnashed her teeth in hatred at the thought of what had happened in the past. She wished for nothing more than to tear the man before her into a million pieces. Stinking whore, how dare you King hit me? The handsome man's face was filled with rage as he shouted, Men, capture this stinking whore. I want to take her back and punish her properly. Hearing this, the two elders behind the man stepped forward and attacked Yin Ku. The expressions of Fujin and the others changed drastically. They hurriedly tried to stop these people, but they were still a step too late. By the time they arrived in front of Yin Ku, the two old men had already successfully captured her. Su Luochun, you son of a B*TCH. I, Yin Ku, would rather die than fall into your hands. Yin Ku raised her hand and slapped it fiercely towards her head as soon as she finished speaking. Junior sister, no. Fujin was so frightened that his legs turned to jelly and he cried out anxiously. Yin Ku's hand had almost landed on her head when it was grabbed tightly by an old hand. The young master has ordered that you must be punished by her. You're not allowed to harm yourself. The old man's voice was very indifferent as he stared at Yin Ku expressionlessly. Su Luochun scoffed coldly as he looked down at Fujin and the others from above. These people are related to Yin Ku. Capture them and don't let a single one of them off. Fujin clenched his fists tightly. At this moment, he felt so powerless. They had already left the sect, but Su Luochun still had no intention of letting them off. At this moment, a soft voice rang out and fell into everyone's ears. Uncle, you can't be too shameless. If you're this shameless, you'll probably incur the wrath of the heavens. A young boy dressed in embroidered robes had unknowingly appeared next to Fujin and the others. His jade-like face was filled with a radiant smile. His eyes were as beautiful as the stars as he stared unblinkingly at Su Luochun. Is this kid one of yours? Su Luochun did not take Xiao Shu seriously and scoffed coldly as he asked. No. Fujin's face turned even paler as he glared fiercely at Xiao Shu. Get the hell out of here. Hurry up and leave. He raised his head and looked at Su Luochun once again after he had spoken. We don't know him. In the beginning, Fujin looked down on Yin Luofeng. Even though Yin Luofeng had a tall and mighty guard behind him, they couldn't sense any spirit energy fluctuations from his body. Therefore, he was very dissatisfied with Yin Luofeng's participation. But this does not mean that he is a bad person. Yin Luofeng and the small tree were innocent. Since they were destined to fall into the hands of these people, why should they drag them down? Young master, someone whispered in Su Luochun's ear. I've just asked around. This kid is in cahoots with them. Yin Ku is such a despicable woman. We can't let any of the people around her go. Yin Ku's body stiffened, and her face was full of regret. If she had known that she would meet Su Luochun here, she would never have agreed to bring the tree along. Men, arrest them all. Su Luochun waved his hand and ordered coldly. In an instant, the two old men extended their hands in an attempt to grab the small tree. However, before the pair of withered old hands could touch the small tree, they were firmly grabbed by a rough and powerful arm. Everyone was stunned. He couldn't figure out who would be so bold as to go against the profound Azure sect. Chapter 1466. Just as the crowd was in a state of confusion, a cold voice slowly rang out, carrying with it a strong, murderous intent. Yun-E, cripple his hand. Crack. Yun-E suddenly exerted force. Instantly, an anguished wail rang through the sky and pierced through the clouds. Bang! Then, Yun-E violently flung his hand away. The elder stumbled a few steps back. His face was pale from the pain, and his forehead was drenched in cold sweat. He glared viciously at Yun Luofeng, who had given the order. In an instant, everyone's eyes fell on Yun Luofeng. The morning light poured down and shone on the young girl's pure white robes. The young girl walked towards the sunlight. She was as beautiful as a celestial being from a painting. It was so unreal. Su Luochen was a little dazed. He had never seen a woman with such a devastatingly beautiful appearance. Even a number one beauty of a Xianqing school was not even 1/10 as beautiful as she was. What happened? Suddenly, a cold voice rang out from behind him, bringing Su Luochen back to his senses from his shock. Before he could say anything, he saw a white shadow suddenly float past, rushing towards Yun Luofeng in front of him. Yun Luofeng, who had no smile on his face, looked at the white shadow rushing towards him. The corners of his lips curled into an angle, and his evil eyes were filled with a smile. Bang! The white shadow did not hesitate and slammed into Yun Luofeng. Her two arms hugged him tightly, and when she lifted her head, her cute little face was covered in tears. Master, I finally get to see you again. Sob sob. The young girl cried miserably. She crawled onto Yun Luofeng's body, afraid that if she let go, the person in front of her would abandon her and leave on his own. He had been gone for 3 years. Xiao Bai, looking at the pitiful little face in front of him, Yun Luofeng chuckled and asked, "Why are you alone? Where are Hu Li and Wu?" Back then, when she went to the Wither Dragon Town to look for Yun Xiao, she left Little White and the others at their original place. Now, she only saw Little White. Hu Li and Wu Du were not by her side. Lin Ruobai wiped away his tears. Hu Li thought that you were dead, so he sent me back to his hometown and entrusted me to his father to take care of. Then, he said that he wanted to see you if you were alive, and if you were dead, he wanted to see your corpse. Then, he left with Wu. I didn't want to stay there and wait, so I took advantage of Hu Li's father not noticing and ran out. Thinking of the news from 3 years ago, Lin Ruobai's expression became even sadder. Master, where have you been all these years? Why didn't you come back to see us? To Little White, who had lost all her memories, Yun Luofeng was her only family. He was also the only person she could rely on in this world. Su Luochun was dumbfounded. Miss Lin knew these people? This, second brother, what happened? The cold voice from before sounded again. This time, Yun Luofeng looked at the newcomer. The person who slowly walked over was a handsome man. His facial features were very similar to Su Luochen's. It was not difficult to guess that they had been together for 2 years. However, thinking that this man had come together with Lin Ruobai, Yun Luofeng's expression tightened. A cold light flashed across his eyes, carrying with it a chilly and austere aura. Big brother, this woman's bodyguard injured 5th Elder Zhang. Su Luochen had already regained his senses and said through gritted teeth. Su Jun frowned and shot a cold gaze at Yun Luofeng. He said coldly, "Miss, you injured someone from my profound Azure sect. Don't you owe me an explanation?" Chapter 1467. Explanation. Yun Luofeng laughed coldly. These people wanted to kidnap my son. I only crippled one of his arms. That's already being merciful. Su Jun's expression was ugly. In all these years, he had never met anyone who didn't respect the Xianqing sect. In the entire Ling continent, only the Jun family could instill fear in the Xianqing sect. Could it be that this woman thought she was from the Jun family? What a joke. Miss, for Miss Xiao Bai's sake, I don't want to be calculative with you. I hope you can apologize to my men. Su Jun's voice was cold as he spoke. Yin Luofeng turned to look at Xiao Bai. His eyes seemed to be asking her what relationship she had with these people. Master, a year ago, I was in danger. These people passed by and saved me. That's why I'm with them. Lin Ruabai blinked her eyes and replied honestly. But Lin Ruabai was very unhappy with Su Jun's demand for Yun Luofeng to apologize. Although Su Jun had helped her and taken care of her for a year, her master was definitely not in the wrong. Even if he was wrong, he was still right. No one could bully her master. Yun Luofeng got the answer he wanted and turned to Su Jun. For the sake of you saving Xiao Bai, I'll let you live. If there's a next time, the Xianqing sect will be destroyed. Scram. Whoosh. As soon as Yun Luofeng finished speaking, the puppet stood in front of her like a huge mountain. It stared coldly at Su Jun and the others. Big brother. Su Luochen panicked. This woman is too much. We should tie her up and throw her into the black pond to feed the snakes. Su Jun didn't say anything. He stared coldly at Yin Luofeng. Miss, I hope you remember what you said today. I'll make you regret it. Let's go. With that, Su Jun looked at Lin Ruabai meaningfully. He brushed his sleeves and turned to leave with the Xianqing sect people. When they were out of sight of Yin Luofeng and the others, Su Luochen said unhappily, Big brother, why didn't you kill them? And that bitch, Yin Ke. I can't rest easy letting her live in this world. Su Jun stopped and looked at Su Luochen coldly. Back then, Yin Ke attacked you out of anger because you humiliated her younger sister. However, our profound Azure sect has always been protective of our own, so we push the blame onto Yin Ke. However, you know better than anyone else what actually happened. Su Luochen didn't say anything, but in his heart, he didn't agree. As a young master of the Xianqing sect, it was Yin Ke's good fortune that he had taken a liking to her sister. Why shouldn't he accept his charity? There's no need to think too much about what happened today. You were definitely the one who provoked me first. Su Jun said in a deep voice. Big brother, I didn't expect that woman to be Lin Ruabai's master. That's right. Didn't father tell you that you must win Lin Ruabai's heart? Will your actions have any impact? Su Luochen's eyes were filled with worry. If he neglected the task his father had given him because of this, then his father would never forgive him. I've been with Xiao Bai for a year. I believe that she has completely fallen in love with me. A strange light flashed across Su Jun's eyes. Second brother, you have to be clear about one thing. Once a woman falls in love, she will listen to a man's every word. Between her master and me, who do you think she will choose? Chapter 1468. Of the two brothers of the Xianqing sect, Su Luochen was arrogant and liked to stir up trouble. He was a complete debauchee, while Su Jun was more arrogant and had a good sense of himself. Lin Ruabai had been by his side for the past year, which made him even more certain that he was in love with her. Even this time, it was Lin Ruabai who insisted on going out with him. If she hadn't fallen in love with him, how could she have become so clingy? The arrogant Su Jun didn't know that Lin Ruabai had a playful nature. How could she stay in a boring place like the Xianqing sect? If she had the chance to go out, she wouldn't give it up. But Su Luochen glanced at Su Jun. I saw that Lin Ruabai and her master are very close today. Would she be willing to betray her master for the sake of the Xianqing sect? Su Jun smiled confidently. They haven't seen each other for a long time, so they must be very close. I'll let them be for a few days. After a few days, Xiao Bai will return to my side. When that time comes, she will cry tears of joy if I promise to marry her. Su Luochen hesitated for a moment before asking, Big brother, are you sure that Miss Lin will marry you? If she doesn't marry me, who else will she marry? I can feel Xiao Bai's affection for me this past year. If it wasn't for him loving me more, I wouldn't have refused to accept him. Su Jun's voice was brimming with confidence. He was certain that Lin Ruabai would be his woman. Even though Lin Ruabai had never confessed to him, he firmly believed in his heart that this girl must have loved him so much that she couldn't help herself. Big brother, I only know that father told you to please Miss Lin, but what is her background? Su Luochen frowned and asked the question that had been bothering him all this time. Su Jun glanced at his brother and said in an indifferent tone, Lin Ruabai seems to be from that place. If we can marry her, then our Xianqing sect status will also rise. We might even surpass the Jun family. Someone from that place? Su Luochen's eyes widened in shock. No wonder his snobbish father told his big brother to please Lin Ruabai. It turned out that Lin Ruabai was from that place. On the mountain range, Yin Ku and the others all stared at Yin Luofeng in shock, as if they hadn't expected the guard beside her to be so powerful. Fu Jin was a little ashamed. He walked forward and said apologetically, I'm sorry, Miss Yin. I shouldn't have underestimated you. If it wasn't for you, I'm afraid we wouldn't have been able to escape death. Yin Luofeng's black eyes were dark and bright. His voice was cold and evil. Can I borrow your tent? Hearing this, Fu Jin hurriedly said, Miss Yin, you can use the tent as you please. Hearing this, Yin Luofeng didn't say anything else. She pulled Little Tree with one hand and Lin Ruabai with the other as they walked into the tent. Just as Fu Jin and the others were about to enter, the muscular body of the puppet was already standing guard at the entrance. Its stern eyes forced Fu Jin and the others to take a few steps back. Fu Jin, Yin Ku sighed. This time, it's all thanks to Miss Yin that we were able to chase away Su Luochen and the others. Actually, it shouldn't have been difficult for her to save her son from the profound Azure sect. There's no need for her to hurt the people of the profound Azure sect and make them her enemy. Fu Jin's words were naturally not for the sake of the profound Azure sect. In his heart, he had long wanted to tear the profound Azure sect to pieces. Chapter 1469. However, Yin Luofeng's decision to go against the Xianqing sect would only bring disaster upon herself. Was it worth it? Fu Jin, you should be glad that you chose to scold Xiao Shu. Yin Ke laughed bitterly. If you hadn't scolded Xiao Shu and made him leave, Miss Yin might not have helped us. Even though Fu Jin had scolded Xiao Shu, she had done so out of consideration for his safety. How could Yin Luofeng not have sensed it? However, they did not know that this was only one of the reasons. The second reason was that Yin Luofeng was a vengeful person. That old man must pay the price for daring to attack Xiao Shu. Inside the tent, when little Mo appeared out of nowhere, Lin Ruabai's face lit up with joy. She quickly rushed towards him and hugged the young man's slender body tightly before kissing him on the cheek. Little Mo's face instantly turned red. He quickly pushed Lin Ruabai away and glared at her. Do you know what it means to be a man and a woman? Lin Ruabai did not know why little Mo was angry. His face was full of grievance. I was just too happy to see you guys. That's why I couldn't suppress my excitement. Little Mo's face turned even uglier. Do you kiss someone else too? Actually, he wanted to ask what was the relationship between Lin Ruabai and Su Jun. At that moment, little Mo did not realize that he was starting to mind the presence of other men around Xiao Bai. Yin Luofeng sat down and casually took out a teacup. Once she filled it with water, she looked at the two people in front of her with a smile. I didn't. Lin Ruabai felt even more wronged. I only do this when I see you. Little Mo finally relaxed when he heard this. He slowly walked to Yin Luofeng's side and smiled. Master, I want to stay by your side this time. I don't plan on going back to the Divine Grimoire. Is that so? Yin Luofeng raised an eyebrow. Haven't you always wanted to avoid Xiao Bai? Little Mo looked a little awkward. Wasn't that because Xiao Bai was too scary before? I think she's very cute now. Oh, Yin Luofeng's eyes were playful. Is jealousy delicious? Master, when was I jealous? It's not like you don't know that I never eat. Then why do I smell jealousy all over you? Little Mo, who hadn't yet reacted, immediately understood what Yin Luofeng meant. She blushed and said, Master, you're teasing me again. How could I be jealous? This is impossible. After glancing at the stubborn little Mo, Yin Luofeng turned to look at Lin Ruabai. Huli left with Wu? Lin Ruabai nodded. Huli said that he was worried about leaving me with Wu, so he left with Wu. Master, I have a feeling that there's something strange about Wu, but I can't tell what's strange. Wu won't do anything dangerous to Huli for the time being. I want to find Yin Xiao and Hong Wan first. Do you know where they are? Lin Ruabai thought for a moment, and shook his head. I don't know. She really didn't know anything. One last question. What is your relationship with Su Jun? Little Mo wanted to ask this question, so Yin Luofeng asked it on his behalf. Master, why are you asking this? Lin Ruobai was stunned. He saved me and treated me well. The people from Xianqing sect also took good care of me. However, I hate them from now on. Chapter 1470. Why? They said that Master was in the wrong and wanted Master to apologize. How can my Master be in the wrong? It's their fault. Lin Ruobai said angrily. She was upset at the thought of those people bullying her Master. She also forgot about how well Su Jun had treated her over the past year. Nothing was more important than her Master. I'm done with my questions. Let's go, little Bai. Yin Luofeng put away the teacup and walked out of the tent. Outside the tent, Fu Jin and the rest were shocked when they saw Yin Luofeng walking out. That was because they had never seen little Mo before. Now that a person had appeared out of nowhere, how could they not think too much about it? However, it was as if they had discussed it beforehand. None of them asked the questions in their hearts. Miss Yin, are you done with your disciple? Yin Ke walked up with a grin. Should we set off now? Unknowingly, the team of 4 had already treated Yin Luofeng as the leader. They even needed to ask for his opinion on when to set off. Let's go. Yin Luofeng looked at the towering mountain range. His expression gradually became solemn. Just as they were about to set off, a group of people suddenly appeared and blocked their way. What do you want now? Yin Ke's voice was a little angry. Get out of our way immediately. Su Jun did not look at her. When he looked at Lin Ruobai again, his cold eyes were filled with gentleness. Little Bai, I promised you that I would protect you. It's safer for you to come with us. Initially, he wanted to give Lin Ruobai and Yin Luofeng a few days to spend time together. However, after careful consideration, he still felt more at ease with Lin Ruobai by his side. Lin Ruobai shook her head. Thank you for taking care of me for the past year. I've already found Master, so I'll definitely accompany him. I won't be going to Xianqing sect. Su Jun frowned. He thought that Lin Ruobai would immediately come to his side after he said that. Who would have thought that he would be rejected? Thinking of this, Su Jun's brows relaxed. Since that's the case, I won't force you. If you need anything, you can come back to the Profound Azure sect anytime. The doors of the Profound Azure sect will always be open for you. Lin Ruobai pursed her lips. If she hadn't encountered the incident just now, perhaps she would have pushed for Yin Luofeng and Su Jun. Because of Profound Azure sect's mistake, she had decided to cut ties with them. Xiao Bai. Xiao Mo glanced at Su Jun and grabbed his hand. Let's go. It's a waste of time talking to these people. Su Jun frowned again and shot a sharp glare at little Mo. Where did this brat come from? The more I look at him, the more I look at him. He even dares to grab White E's hand. If it wasn't for little White, he would have beaten this bastard to death. Big brother. After Yin Luofeng and the others left, Su Luochun slowly walked to Su Jun. He asked carefully, Miss Lin, are you not planning to return to the Profound Azure sect? She will come back. Su Jun's expression was full of confidence. I can give her time. She will come back. But, big brother, the young man next to Miss Lin seems to be trying to steal her from someone else. Su Luochen was very unhappy. Where did this wild kid come from? How dare he steal someone from the Profound Azure sect? Chapter 1471. Su Jun snorted. Let's see if he has the ability to poach me. Xiao must have been disheartened by my lack of action and found this kid to provoke me. Unfortunately, I've already seen through their tricks. The fact that he used the words poach meant that in Su Jun's heart, Lin Ruobai was already his. Moreover, he was confident that Xiao Mo didn't have the ability to compete with him. The reason why Lin Ruobai didn't shake off the youth's hand was to provoke him, to force him to reveal his true feelings in the distance. Lin Ruobai's hand was firmly held in Xiao Mo's, making her heart beat faster. It was very uncomfortable. She wanted to break free from Xiao Mo's hand, but Xiao Mo's grip tightened. Master! Lin Ruobai's eyes reddened as she looked pitifully at Yin Luofeng, wanting to ask for help. Xiao Bai. Yin Luofeng pondered for a moment. Does Su Jun like you? Her words were very straightforward. and Lin Ruabai was immediately stunned. After a long time, Lin Ruabai regained her composure. Master, regardless of whether he likes me or not, I don't like people like him. Why? I'm not sure either, but it's very uncomfortable to be by his side. If it wasn't to go out and play, I wouldn't follow him so often. In comparison, Xiao Mo gave her a very comfortable feeling. Yun Luofeng stroked her chin. Looks like we have to find the fruit of the soul as soon as possible to help Xiao Bai recover her memories. Otherwise, with Xiao Bai's intelligence, she'll be easily deceived. Fruit of the soul? Fu Jin was a little surprised. You're looking for the fruit of the soul? Yun Luofeng's heart skipped a beat. You know about the fruit of the soul? Legend has it that there's a fruit of the soul at the peak of Mount Ai, but I've never seen it before, so I don't know if it's true or not. Whether it's true or not, I have to give it a try, even if there's only a glimmer of hope. Yin Luofeng looked at Lin Ruabai, who was as pure as a piece of white paper, and became even more determined. Only when she found the last fruit of the soul would she be able to rest assured. Cluck, cluck, cluck. Suddenly, the cry of an eagle came from the front. Just as everyone was bewildered, a huge body fell from the sky and landed in front of everyone with a bang. Heavens, it's the sky eagle. It is said that this heavenly eagle will never take the initiative to attack others unless someone attacks it first. Why is this heavenly eagle blocking our way? Apart from Yin Ku's group, there were also people from the various factions. When they saw the heavenly eagle blocking their path, they couldn't help but voice their doubts. If the heavenly eagle is blocking the way, it means that there are heavenly eagle eggs up ahead. Su Jun had arrived at some point in time. He led the members of the Black Azure sect forward and smiled at Lin Ruabai. Xiao Bai, didn't you want a spiritual beast in the past? I'll get the heavenly eagle's egg for you as your pet. How about that? Su Luochun chimed in from behind. We, the Profound Azure sect, are interested in this heavenly eagle egg. If you don't want to be our enemy, please take a detour and leave. Their words and actions had made it clear that they must have the heavenly eagle's egg no matter what. Looking at Su Jun's gentle gaze, Lin Ruabai curled his lips. If I want a spiritual beast, my master will snatch it for me. You don't need to be nosy. Xiao Bai, are you angry at me? Su Jun's smile grew even gentler. Even though I don't know why you're angry, I have a reason to make you happy. Take this egg as an apology gift from me. How about that? Chapter 1472. Lin Ruabai frowned slightly. In the past, she only felt that Su Jun made her very uncomfortable, but she didn't realize that this guy was actually so annoying. Seeing that Lin Ruabai didn't speak, Su Jun thought that she had agreed. His sharp eyes swept over the people around and said coldly, "What are you all still standing there for? All of you get lost." When everyone heard Su Jun's words, they hurriedly scattered to the sides. Since this was the only path that led to the top of the mountain, they did not leave. They merely expressed that they would not compete with the Black Azure sect. You guys get out of the way. Su Jun glanced at Yin Ku and the others. Yin Luofeng was Lin Ruabai's master. He would not dare to let her go, so there was no need for the others to stay. Fu Jin snorted, but didn't take a step away. Su Jun's face darkened. Just as he was about to order the people from the Profound Azure sect to chase them away, an evil voice suddenly rang out, causing those people to stop in their tracks. If anyone dares to take another step forward, Yin Yi, break their legs. Perhaps it was because of Yin Yi's previous means that these people were afraid. They didn't dare to move an inch forward for fear that this capable man would really break their legs. If you don't want to leave, then so be it. Su Jun did not force them any further. His gaze swept across Lin Ruabai. Xiao Bai, just you wait. I'll bring you the spiritual beast egg very soon. This sky eagle was very powerful. It was already a mid-level, wholly venerable, and was only a step away from breaking through to high level. Hence, in order to make Lin Ruabai happy, Su Jun had already thrown out his fist. All of you attack. Kill Sky Eagle and snatch the spiritual beast egg. Su Jun gritted his teeth and ordered sternly. At that moment, everyone from the Profound Azure sect took out their weapons and attacked Sky Eagle. Yin Luofeng did not stop them as she watched their actions. Her lips curled into a sinister smile as her eyes flickered. This heavenly eagle is only a mid-level holy venerable right now. It will break through to the high level soon. Coupled with the fact that Sky Eagle is eager to protect its son, its combat power will definitely increase by a level. The actions of these people from the profound Azure sect are no different from courting death. Anyone who is in danger, or when their loved ones were in danger, would erupt with great power. It was the same for spirit beasts. Besides, this was a spiritual beast that was on the verge of a breakthrough. If they were to fight it, they would be digging their own graves. I don't think that Su Jun is a good person. How dare he have designs on Xiao Bai? Xiao Mo scoffed. He should teach these people a lesson so that they won't dare to pester Xiao Bai again. To be honest, Little Mo didn't want to kill these people. Even if they wanted to harm Little White, at least they had saved it before. If it wasn't for this, Little Mo would have already made a move. The profound Azure sect strength was definitely not something that an ordinary force could compare to. Therefore, even when facing the protective Sky Eagle, they still had the upper hand. In fact, they were even showing signs of defeating Sky Eagle. Of course, that was because Sky Eagle had broken through in a state of anxiety and anger. Boundless spiritual energy circled around its body, and it flapped its wings, stirring up a huge gust of wind. It raised its head and let out a long, angry cry, and its ferocious eyes stared fixedly at the people in front of it. Oh no, why is it breaking through at a time like this? Su Jun's expression changed and turned pale. Young master, if this was the Sky Eagle from before, we would still have a chance of winning. Now that it has broken through, we're no match for it. An elder took a few steps back and spoke with an ugly expression. Chapter 1473. Su Jun's heart was filled with bitterness. If he had known that this Sky Eagle would have a breakthrough, he would not have tried to show off. Now, with his warning, no one would dare to help him fight against the Sky Eagle. Hence, Su Jun was already thinking of giving up on this Sky Eagle egg. However, when he turned around to look at Lin Ruobai, he realized that the young girl was staring at him anxiously. The glint in her eyes made Su Jun's heart harden. He gritted his teeth and said, I will never give up on this Sky Eagle egg. Keep going. I don't believe that we can't kill a Sky Eagle with so many of us here. The members of the Xinqing sect smiled bitterly, but they did not dare to disobey Su Jun's orders. They could only bite the bullet and charge forward. When Su Jun faced the Sky Eagle again, Lin Ruobai had already turned her gaze away. Her animated eyes were now filled with disdain. Who told you to keep bothering me? This time, you're in for a hard time. After all, in Lin Ruobai's heart, there was only her master. Even though Su Jun had saved her life, she would not remember this friendship. Who asked this be asterisk starred to bully master? Anyone who bullies master is not a good person. Cluck, cluck, cluck. The Sky Eagle's voice was sharp as it flapped its wings and charged towards the humans who had the audacity to provoke it. Its eyes were filled with ferocity as it flapped its wings fiercely like a hurricane on Su Jun's body. At that moment, Su Jun was sent flying out of the way. He spat out a mouthful of blood and his face turned pale. Master Xiao! The crowd turned pale with fright, but they had no time to care about Su Jun. All they could do was bitterly deal with the Sky Eagle's lightning-like attacks. What are you all standing around for? An elder finally could not hold on any longer and roared at the crowd who were watching the show. Aren't you going to help us fight against this Sky Eagle? The crowd hesitated, unsure if they should help or not. However, in the end, one of them stepped forward and decided to help the Xinqing sect. Just as he stepped forward, a chilly gaze swept towards him and the young girl's lukewarm voice rang out. Don't forget what the Xinqing sect had said. If you attack, they might think that you're trying to steal the spiritual beast egg. After all, the Xinqing sect has always been unreasonable. The middle-aged man, who was about to make a move, immediately took a few steps back. The young girl was right. If the profound Azure sect thought that he was trying to steal the spirit beast egg, then he wouldn't be able to explain himself. Moreover, risking his life to deal with Heavenly Eagle, yet he could not obtain anything. Just thinking about it made him feel a little indignant. The old man from the profound Azure sect was about to go crazy because of Yin Luofeng. He wanted nothing more than to split her in half. However, they were already unable to deal with the sky eagle in front of them, so they couldn't spare any time to find Yin Luofeng. If you can't kill this sky eagle, don't even think about going up the mountain. The old man gritted his teeth and stared at Yin Luofeng angrily. Yin Luofeng smiled evilly. I can wait until all of you are dead before I make my move. You, the old man, trembled in anger. How can you help us? The man behind the woman was quite strong. If they could get his help, they might be able to subdue the sky eagle. An item for a life. If you have an item of equal value, bring it to me and I'll save you. The old man from the Xianqing sect was about to vomit blood. They knew that out of so many people, only Yin Luofeng could help them. Chapter 1474. The others could not even compare to them. How could they subdue this sky eagle? I have a 1,000-year-old herb. I wonder how many lives it can be exchanged for. The old man gritted his teeth as he spoke. Clearly, he was extremely furious at Yin Luofeng's actions. Do you think a 1,000-year-old herb can be compared to human lives? Yin Luofeng's eyes flickered. However, I won't bargain with you. Hand over your interspatial rings, and I'll make a move. You. The old man's face was ashen. At their level, all their treasures were stored in their interspatial rings and would not be stored elsewhere. In the end, this woman wanted to swallow their interspatial rings in one gulp. Yin Luofeng raised her brows and smiled faintly when she saw the old men's furious expressions. Think about it carefully. Which is more important, the interspatial ring or human lives? The old men took a deep breath. Although they were reluctant, they still removed the rings from their fingers and threw them in front of Yin Luofeng. We've given you the items. I wonder if you'll save them? Yin Luofeng glanced at the old man who spoke. I want to read the items first. Under normal circumstances, an interspatial ring would form a contract with the holder to prevent it from being stolen. Apart from the holder, no one could take out the items inside. However, what happened next left everyone dumbfounded. Yin Luofeng scanned the interspatial ring with her spiritual power and erased the contract she had left in it. Then, she threw out a few items that were not of much use from the interspatial ring. The holders spat out a mouthful of blood due to the disappearance of the contract, and their faces turned ghastly pale. To be able to directly erase someone else's spiritual power. How terrifying was this power? What kind of monster had the Xianqing sect encountered? It had to be said that these old men were indeed the elders of the Xianqing sect. The items they stored were also very precious. Yin Luofeng kept the interspatial ring and stared at the sky eagle sternly. She shouted, "Stop!" The sky eagle did not expect that someone would dare to shout at it. It became even more furious and flapped its wings, wanting to charge at Yin Luofeng. However, when it sensed the pressure from Yin Luofeng, its entire body froze, and a trace of fear appeared in its eyes. Are you stupid? Seeing that Yin Luofeng had only shouted and not done anything else, the profound Azure Sect's old man couldn't help but angrily say, "Who do you think you are? Just shout, and it will listen to your command. Hurry up and get your guards to take action. Otherwise, we won't be able to hold them off." He already regretted it. She regretted seeking help from such an idiot. Sky Eagle was so arrogant. How could it possibly listen to a human's orders? What a joke. However, even though he was scolding them in his heart, it was as if someone had slapped him hard in the face in the next moment, causing him to be stunned. Because the initially aggressive Sky Eagle suddenly retracted all of its aura and really stopped on the spot. Its eyes were still filled with fear as it carefully watched Yin Luofeng. Everyone was dumbfounded. What? What exactly happened? How could a human command Sky Eagle? Sky Eagle did not know what these people were thinking. He only knew that the peerlessly beautiful young lady was emitting an aura that did not belong to a human. Chapter 1475. This kind of pressure could only be felt by spirit beasts of the Saint Monarch realm, of course. He did not know that this pressure did not belong to Yin Luofeng, but came from fire. The grade difference between spirit beasts was very obvious. Once they encountered a spirit beast of a higher grade than them, they would all stop attacking. Otherwise, it would be equivalent to asking for trouble. Yin Luofeng glanced at the Sky Eagle before looking at Su Jun. His voice was cold and evil. I'm not asking for your space ring. I'm returning the favor for saving Xiaobai. From now on, if your profound azure sect dares to provoke me again, I'll destroy your entire sect. The young girl's words touched Lin Ruabai, who was standing beside her. She wasn't as smart as before, but that didn't mean she was stupid. Yin Luofeng had let Su Jun go this time because he wanted to return the favor on her behalf. Even though Yin Luofeng wasn't afraid of others making thoughtless remarks, he was still a person who valued kindness. If he could return the favor for her this time, even if the profound Azure sect continued to cause trouble for him in the future, they would have a reason to kill him. Su Jun looked at Yin Luofeng coldly. I didn't beg you to save me. No matter what you say, I've already repaid you for saving Xiaobai. Yin Luofeng curled the corners of his lips and turned his gaze towards the sky eagle. Take me to your sky eagle egg. Su Jun's expression changed. He propped himself up and said coldly, This heavenly eagle egg belongs to me. Why do you want to snatch it away? For the sake of the heavenly eagle eggs, the profound Azure sect had lost many experts. Was he going to give them away just like that? I was the one who subdued Sky Eagle. Yin Luofeng sneered. Su Jun snorted. You're working for money. The profound Azure sect has given you so many treasures, which proves that we hired you to deal with this heavenly eagle. The spoils of war naturally belong to the profound Azure sect. Really? Yin Luofeng shrugged. I only promised to save your lives. I didn't promise anything else. If you want the Sky Eagle's egg, you'll have to see if the Sky Eagle agrees. Hearing this, Sky Eagle's sharp eyes shot towards Su Jun and the others. The murderous light in its eyes intensified as it planned to pounce on them and tear them into pieces at any moment. You are shameless. These 3 words were spat out by Su Jun through gritted teeth. They had worked hard for half a day, but their hard work ended up benefiting others. Come, take me to your nest. Yin Luofeng ignored Su Jun behind him and continued speaking to Sky Eagle. Skyhawk was silent for a moment before it turned around in the end, and it led Yin Luofeng and the others towards the depths of the dense forest. In this dense forest, there was an eagle nest between 2 trees. There was a huge egg in this eagle nest, surrounded by many heavenly eagles. These heavenly eagles were not as strong as the one they encountered, but they were still holy venerates. A heavenly eagle egg that was protected by so many heavenly eagles was definitely not ordinary. It's Sky Eagle King's egg. Little Mo pondered for a while and suddenly said, Sky Eagle King? When these 3 words fell into everyone's ears, their hearts trembled. The people from the profound Azure sect were filled with regret. This was not an ordinary heavenly eagle egg. It was the egg of the heavenly eagle king. If they had not asked for Yin Luofeng's help, perhaps this heavenly eagle egg would have belonged to them. Su Jun clenched his fists in hatred. He turned his head and glanced at Little Mo and Little White, who were whispering to each other. The anger in his heart intensified as he said coldly, Since you've taken this heavenly eagle egg, you have no right to obtain all the treasures on Mount AI. Chapter 1476. Yenka glared at Su Jun angrily. Why? This heavenly eagle was tamed by Miss Yin. Why can't you let her get the other treasures? Because she can't afford to offend so many of us here. Su Jun sneered. His eyes were filled with coldness as he glanced at Yin Luofeng and the others. Other than the Xianqing sect, there were also experts from various forces. Although these people were not the strongest, most of them had the strength of a holy venerable. Furthermore, so what if they could not defeat Yin Luofeng's bodyguards? Did she really dare to offend all the forces in Ling Continent? Xiaobai. After saying this, Su Jun turned to look at Lin Ruabai with a gentle smile in his eyes. Don't worry, I will give you your share as you wish. You should join my team. No, Lin Ruabai pouted. I just want to follow Master. Xiaobai, I know you are angry with me. You are angry that I should not have been so distant from you. I know that you have me in your heart. You have a close relationship with this young man just to anger me. Now that you have succeeded, can you come back? Su Jun lowered his voice as much as he could and even sounded like he was pleading. When had the young master of the Xianqing sect ever been so humble? But for Lin Ruabai, it was all worth it. Lin Ruabai was stunned. She was close to Xiao Mo just to piss Su Jun off? Why didn't she know what she was thinking? Xiao Bai, why have you been living with this idiot for the past year? A cold glint flashed across little Mo's eyes. He grabbed Lin Ruabai's hand tightly, as if he was declaring his ownership, and looked at Su Jun arrogantly. Su Jun did not bother with Xiao Mo. In his heart, Xiao Mo was just a pitiful person who was being used by Lin Ruabai. Lin Ruabai would eventually return to his side. But Xiao Bai pouted. I didn't know he was such an idiot. Su Jun, who was not angry at first, immediately flew into a rage when he heard Xiao Bai's words. He glared coldly at Xiao Mo. Don't feed Xiao Bai bad information. Xiao Bai's a pure and kind girl. She will become a bad friend sooner or later if she stays by your side. Azure Wings. Suddenly, the young girl's cold and evil voice rang out. In that instant, a burly figure instantly stood in front of her. Just this powerful and majestic figure alone gave off an extremely oppressive feeling. Su Jun's expression changed completely. He felt like he couldn't breathe. It was as if this strong man could easily end his life. Xiao Mo was betrothed to Xiao Bai many years ago. Yun Luofeng's cold gaze drifted toward Su Jun, so if you have any ideas about Xiao Bai, Yin, he will immediately wring your neck. Su Jun was so frightened that he didn't dare to speak. At a time like this, the profound Azure Sect's elders didn't dare to step forward. After all, the Azure Wings had left a deep impression on them. More importantly, there was a group of heavenly eagles eyeing them like tigers watching their prey. The treasures of Mount Ai have always been obtained by capable people. You can't blame anyone for not having the ability to obtain them. Yin Luofeng wickedly smiled. Little White, little Mo, since they want to fight for the treasure, then we will act alone. Chapter 1477. After saying this, he walked towards the Heavenly Eagle King's egg. Seeing her arrival, the Heavenly Eagle sect members subconsciously opened up a path. Yin Luofeng easily obtained the Heavenly Eagle egg and casually threw it towards Lin Ruabai. At this moment, not to mention the humans, even the Heavenly Eagle's hearts tightened. They nervously stared at the Heavenly Eagle egg in the air, afraid that it would fall. What was a false alarm was that little Mo caught the Heavenly Eagle egg in time and placed it in Xiao Bai's hands. Master, is this Heavenly Eagle egg for me? Lin Ruabai was very happy as he stared at Yin Luofeng. Yes, it's a gift for you. Yin Luofeng's lips curled up. Moreover, this gift came too easily. It's no different from picking it up. The profound Azure sect members almost vomited blood. Their faces were ashen. The Heavenly Eagle egg that they had spent so much effort and sacrificed so many lives to obtain was actually so easy in her eyes. This woman must be deliberately trying to anger them to death. The figure of a Heavenly Eagle gradually elongated in the sky and turned into a handsome man who landed in front of Yin Luofeng. This Heavenly Eagle was the one that had fought against the profound Azure sect. You want to follow us? Yin Luofeng sensed the Heavenly Eagle's will and asked indifferently. The handsome man nodded. I'm the Heavenly Eagle King's personal bodyguard. Now that my king is dead, I have been ordered to protect your highness. I will follow your highness wherever you go. His gaze was fixed on the Heavenly Eagle egg in Xiao Bai's arms. His originally cold and murderous eyes became very gentle. The Heavenly Eagle egg does not belong to me. Yin Luofeng pointed at Lin Ruabai behind him. If you want to follow me, she will be your new master. Hearing this, the man knelt on one knee and said firmly, My name is Inju. From now on, I will protect your highness, and the young master is my duty. Su Jun's eyes turned red with jealousy. A high-level, holy, venerable spirit beast and a mysterious Heavenly Eagle egg. If these two items belonged to him, the profound Azure Sect's power would definitely rise to another level. But this was all because of Yin Luofeng. Su Jun clenched his fists tightly as he glared at Yin Luofeng's back, his eyes filled with rage. If it weren't for the fact that he couldn't defeat Yin Yi, he would have rushed over and torn this hateful woman to shreds. Let's go. Yun Luofeng said to little Mo and the others as if he had ignored Su Jun's existence. Fu Jin was stunned. He was a little hesitant. Should we follow them? If we stay here, the profound Azure sect will definitely not let us go. The best outcome now is to follow Lady Yin. Yin Ku pondered for a moment and said. Then, she quickly caught up to Yun Luofeng. When the others saw that Yun Luofeng did not resist their pursuit, they also chased after her and followed closely behind her. Ai Mountain was rich in medicinal herbs. Along the way, Yun Luofeng had already found countless precious medicinal herbs. Unfortunately, she still hadn't found a single 1,000-year-old medicinal herb. Suddenly, Yin Luofeng's gaze fell on a jade-green medicinal herb in front of him. This medicinal herb was like a jade-green swimming snake. It shone brightly and looked very lively. It's the jade serpent herb. She vaguely remembered that it was recorded in the divine book of medicine that if this jade serpent herb was placed in the space, it could evolve into a spirit serpent herb. Chapter 1478. The effect of the spirit snake grass was to increase the speed of a cultivator's cultivation. For example, it would normally take 3 months to advance from a low-level holy king to an intermediate-level holy king. He would only need half a month. This alone was not enough. If the juice of the spirit snake grass was extracted, it could break through the barrier of a cultivator and allow those who were stuck at a certain level to break through. Of course, the spirit snake grass could be consumed within 2 months. The effect of one stalk was half a month. If the second stalk was consumed within half a month, the effect would be counterproductive. As for the juice extracted, it required the concentration of several stalks of spirit snake grass. Hence, a person could only consume 1 bottle in their lifetime. Consuming more would not only have no effect, but it would also cause difficulties in advancing in the future. This is good stuff. Xiao Mo had obviously discovered the spirit snake grass as well, and her eyes lit up. Miss Yun, as the only doctor in the 4-man team, Qi Xiao had a deep understanding of medicinal herbs. When he saw Yun Luofeng walk towards the jade snake grass, his eyes were filled with surprise. This is the jade snake grass. Although the jade snake grass can slightly increase the spiritual energy in one's body, the spiritual energy is very little. For people of our level, it is not very useful. In the beginning, they might have thought that Yun Luofeng did not have much strength. However, after Yun Yi's strength was revealed, no one dared to underestimate Yun Luofeng anymore. How weak could her strength be if she could bring along such a powerful guard? This jade snake grass may not be useful to you, but is very useful to me. Perhaps it was because Yun Luofeng had found the jade snake grass that she was very happy and answered Qi Xiao's question in a good mood. Qi Xiao's eyes were filled with doubt. He did not seem to understand the use of the jade snake grass for Yun Luofeng. Because Yun Luofeng had been collecting medicinal herbs along the way, the other forces had caught up to her. These people did not look good. After walking for such a long time, they did not even find a single medicinal herb, let alone a treasure. Needless to say, they knew that Yun Luofeng had harvested all of them. However, everyone was very afraid of the strength of Yun Yi and the Sky Eagle. No one dared to cause trouble for Yun Luofeng. After they continued forward, the people behind them began to curse. This woman is too vicious. She didn't even leave a single strand of hair for us. If all the experts from our sect are here, let's see if this woman still dares to act so arrogantly. Su Jun fell silent as he listened to the curses of the people around him. Suddenly, the corners of his lips curled up and a cold smile hung on his lips. Second brother, did you see the herbs that this woman picked just now? You mean the emerald serpent grass? Su Luochen's eyes flickered as he asked. That's right. Su Jun nodded his head. Although we're not doctors, we've read a few medical books. We know that the emerald serpent grass has no effect on our abilities. But this woman claims that the jade serpent grass is very useful to her. A sarcastic smile appeared on Su Jun's face. Therefore, I conclude that this woman is very weak. She should be weaker than a celestial spirit practitioner. Pooh! Su Luochen couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of saliva. Big brother, are you joking with me? Was this woman's strength below that of a celestial spirit practitioner? He hasn't even become a venerable spirit or a holy spirit. Chapter 1479. In the continent where Yin Luofeng first came from, the celestial spirit master was already considered a very powerful existence. After all, the strongest in the Roaring Dragon continent were the venerable spirit masters. But this was the Seven Continents continent, where geniuses gathered and experts were countless. A celestial spirit master was the lowest existence. Even the servants of some powerful forces were not just celestial spirit masters. The jade serpent grass is only useful for those below the celestial spirit master level. Even if this jade serpent grass is very old, it will not be of any use. Su Jun frowned. So later, let the elder distract the guard. It will be easy for us to kill Yin Luofeng. As for why he did not distract the guard himself, that guard was so powerful. Wouldn't he be seeking death if he did it himself? This kind of suicidal task must be done by someone else. He only needed to deal with Yin Luofeng. Big brother, Su Luochen was a little excited. Don't kill this woman first. Hand her to me. I will make her wish she was dead. Su Jun snorted, his eyes cold. Making her wish she was dead is too easy. A piece of trash below the celestial spirit master dares to clamor in front of me. In any case, I have already broken through to the middle level of a holy king. How can a piece of trash like her compare? Big brother. Su Luochen seemed to have thought of something and continued. The guard behind her is so powerful. Could she be from a powerful force? No way. The most powerful force in the Ling continent is the Jun family. I have seen the Jun family's young lady, Jun Ling is clearly not her. Su Jun shook his head. Moreover, this time I will kill everyone. By then, no matter how powerful her background is, she will not be able to find the murderer. Of course, he only said this when he saw that the other forces were hurrying on their way. Otherwise, if this fell into the ears of the other forces, there would be internal strife before they could deal with Yin Luofeng. Then Miss Lin, Su Luochen asked hesitantly. Su Jun's eyes were full of confidence. Xiaobai loves me. I believe she will never betray me. She's just angry now. One day, she will realize that the person she loves the most in this world is me. She was the only one who was worthy of Xiaobai. When Yin Luofeng swept through the AI mountains, she didn't even leave behind a single ordinary medicinal herb. To her, any medicinal herb could become food for the rat tribe. She had never been one to waste food. Therefore, the people following behind her did not even pick up a single stalk of medicinal herb. Instantly, everyone started complaining. Is that the soul fruit? Yin Luofeng was stunned. She suddenly stopped in her tracks and stared closely at the bright red flower petals swaying gracefully at the top of the mountain. Within the bright red petals was a transparent fruit. Under the aura of the fruit, even one's soul would tremble. Wait. Yin Luofeng wanted to step forward, but she seemed to feel something and took a few steps back. Her eyes turned away from the fruit of soul and landed on a green withered tree next to it. This is the Holy Maiden tribe's Tree of Life. However, I don't know why the Tree of Life would appear here. Little Mo furrowed his brows and sent a soul message. It was said that the Tree of Life could bear fruits of life, which could extend one's lifespan by 100 years. What was even more ridiculous was that the juice of the fruit of life, jade serpent grass, was different. Even if one were to take one now and take another 100 years later, there would be no side effects at all. Chapter 1480. The only downside was this fruit of life would only grow once every 10 years. In other words, there would only be 10 fruits in 100 years, which could only extend the lifespan of 10 people. Miss Yin took 2 steps forward. A few days ago, I heard that a miracle had appeared on Mount AI. That miracle was a jade green light that enveloped the entire sky. Hence, countless cultivators have flocked here to obtain this miracle. If my guess is correct, this tree is the miracle that has been rumored to be happening. Yin Luofeng did not speak. Her eyes were fixed on the Tree of Life. She had to admit that she was tempted. The lifespan of humans was not like that of spiritual beasts. After all, there was a limit. If one did not break through within a certain period of time, they would die. For example, the old man had only become an earth spiritualist at such an old age. There was still a huge gap between him and the sky spiritualist. According to the lifespan of humans, he could only live to 80 years old at most. But now, grandfather was already 70 years old. If he did not have any miraculous encounters, he would at most have 10 more years to live. However, things would be different with the Tree of Life. The Tree of Life could increase one's lifespan by 100 years. After 100 years, the old man could continue to consume the fruit of life. By then, he would have an endless lifespan. Where is the miracle? Didn't they say that there was a miracle here? Why is there only one fruit and a withered tree? The people from the other forces rushed over. However, there was only one fruit of the soul and a withered ancient tree. Although the fruit of the soul was very precious compared to the miracle in their hearts, there was still a huge gap. Therefore, how could they not be disappointed? That's impossible. I clearly saw the miracle soaring into the sky with my own eyes. Why is there nothing? A young man's expression was dejected and painful. I lost many of my men on this trip to Mount Ai. Am I going to return empty-handed? What was the use of this withered tree? They would probably despise it, even if I gave it to them. It must be you guys. Su Jun's eyes suddenly turned red. You guys were one step ahead of us. You must have obtained the miracle and hidden it. Quickly hand over the miracle, and we can spare your life. After Su Jun said this, everyone's gaze turned to Yun Luofeng. At this moment, in their eyes, Yun Yi's strength was no longer important. They were a bunch of greedy people who wanted to obtain the miracle. Hand over the miracle. That's right. So many of us came to Mount Ai together. Why do you have to swallow all the benefits? Forget about the other herbs, but you must hand over the miracle. Otherwise, we won't let you off. You're alone. How are you going to fight against so many of us? If you don't hand over the miracle, we won't even let her family off. After Yun Luofeng sensed that the Tree of Life was no longer a threat, she walked towards the soul fruit and plucked it easily. Logically speaking, under normal circumstances, the soul fruit should have a powerful life-bound beast guarding it. However, for some reason, the life-bound beast of the soul fruit didn't appear. Yun Luofeng acted as if he hadn't heard their voices. After plucking the soul fruit, he walked over to Lin Ruobai and handed it to her. This is the last soul fruit. You will recover after eating it. Leave the rest to me. You can sleep in peace. Lin Ruobai understood that Yun Luofeng didn't want her to see such a bloody scene. Chapter 1481. So, she obediently ate the fruit of soul. Puchi. After swallowing the fruit of the soul, Lin Ruobai spat out a mouthful of blood. Her body swayed, and she fell into Little Mo's arms. Su Jun glanced at Lin Ruobai, who was in Xiao Mo's arms, and the anger in his heart intensified. Then, he seemed to remember something and sneered. Based on what I know, those who consume the soul fruit will need to sleep for many days. As for the exact number of days, it depends on the individual's physique. With Xiao Bai's physique, she will need at least half a year to wake up. Su Jun's eyes flashed, and he sneered. So, do you know how big a mistake you have made? I don't know what mistake I've made. Yun Luofeng raised his eyebrows and looked at Su Jun, his voice cold. I only know that you've made a mistake that I can't forgive. Yin Yi, don't let anyone who came here today off. Yin Ku and the others were startled. Perhaps they hadn't expected that Yun Luofeng would actually start a massacre. But after thinking about it, they figured it out. This young girl must have a vengeful personality. These people wanted to kill her first, so what harm was there in killing them? A kind person would be bullied. Only when one is evil would others fear him. Yun Yi's body flashed, and he charged towards the crowd. His figure was like a god of death. With a wave of his hand, he killed those people. Su Jun gave Su Luochen a look, and Su Luochen understood his meaning. While Azure Wing wasn't paying attention, he attacked Yun Luofeng. Damned woman, I'll cripple you today. Let's see how arrogant you can be then. Miss Yun, be careful. Seeing Su Luochen rush towards Yun Luofeng, Yin Ku and the others hastily shouted. Although Yun Yi was very strong, they did not know how strong Yin Luofeng was. Therefore, when they saw Su Luochen's actions, they hurriedly warned him. In the gentle breeze, the girl did not move at all. Her white dress fluttered in the wind, and her evil aura was awe-inspiring. When Su Luochen arrived in front of her, the young lady raised her brows, her indifferent eyes glancing at the fierce-looking man. She gently raised her hand. Pa! A slap landed on Su Luochen's face. The sound of the slap was very soft, so soft that it seemed to be powerless. Seeing this, the various factions couldn't help shaking their heads and sneering. Only Yin Ku and the others bitterly smiled. They were a certain distance away from Yun Luofeng just now, so they weren't able to help her. Only now did they have the time to stop Su Luochen. However, what happened next left everyone dumbfounded. Under Yun Luofeng's gentle slap, Su Luochen's head was like a spinning top, continuously spinning on his neck. He wanted to open his mouth to call for help, but no sound came out of his throat. With a pa sound, his neck broke and his head tumbled down. Fresh blood spurted out, and only then did he break free from the dizziness. The entire mountaintop was deathly silent. It was so quiet that even the sound of the wind could be heard clearly. Su Jun had long been shocked speechless, followed by a kind of fear and joy from the bottom of his heart. He was afraid of Yun Luofeng's strength. Fortunately, the person who went up just now wasn't him. Otherwise, it would be difficult for him to survive this slap. The funny thing was that she actually thought that Yun Luofeng was a heavenly spirit being. Suddenly, Su Jun seemed to remember something and gritted his teeth. Did you do it on purpose? You must have deliberately picked the jade serpent grass so that we would lower our guard and fall into your trap. How can you be so vicious? If it weren't for you, so many people wouldn't have died. Chapter 1482. Yes, if he hadn't seen Yin Luofeng picking the jade snake grass by chance and determined that Yin Luofeng was weak, he wouldn't have used everyone to attack Yin Luofeng. So this was all Yin Luofeng's fault. On purpose. Yin Luofeng smirked, his voice sinister. You think you're worthy? Su Jun's face paled. He took 2 steps back and looked at Yin Luofeng in fear, because at this moment he suddenly realized that Yin Luofeng's figure was gradually disappearing. That's right. Her body was becoming fainter and fainter, then slowly disappearing from head to toe. It was as if she had melted. Master! Little Mo's sharp eyes caught a glimpse of Yin Luofeng's strange state. He ignored everything else and rushed towards Yun Luofeng with Lin Ruobai in his arms, grabbing her hand. After touching Yun Luofeng, Little Mo's body also became fainter and slowly disappeared. Miss Yin, Yin Ku and the others also wanted to rush over, but by the time they reached Yun Luofeng had already disappeared. Without Yin Luofeng's command, Yun Yi began to wave his fists and charge recklessly. He was like a mindless machine, killing without order. Let's go. Su Jun didn't dare to order Yun Yi to fight recklessly. While Yun Yi was attacking the others, he quickly led the Xianqing sect members away. This was the consequence of Yun Yi's lack of intelligence. A puppet without intelligence would only fight according to its master's orders. It didn't know how to think independently and didn't know that it was necessary to stop the escaping Xianqing sect members. Of course, this kind of puppet had another characteristic. Just like the little lowly that Yin Luofeng had given to the old man, it would automatically attack when its master was in danger or when it was in danger. However, it didn't know how to think independently. It had power, but didn't know how to use it. What do we do? Yin Ku stared blankly in the direction where Yin Luofeng and little Mo had disappeared. Her eyes were filled with confusion, not knowing what to do. They just disappeared. They're not dead. Fu Jin gritted her teeth. We can wait for them here. They'll come back. Yin Ku sighed. That's the only thing we can do now. It's a pity that we let those people from the profound Azure sect escape. If they get to Miss Yun's family, they might harm her family. Speaking of which, all of this happened because of us. Hearing this, the 4 of them looked apologetic. If it weren't for them, Yin Luofeng wouldn't have gotten into a conflict with the profound Azure sect. Just as Yin Ku and the others were wondering why Yin Luofeng had disappeared, they suddenly appeared in a room. The room was very old, and there were a few books on the table. There were also a few tree stumps in a room, which seemed to be used for resting. Finally, the successor of the Sacred Maiden tribe is here. A distant voice that seemed to cross thousands of years of time and space was transmitted into Yin Luofeng's ears. Yin Luofeng turned his head and saw a woman dressed in a long green gown with 2 emerald green leaves pinned to her hair, slowly walking over. She was as beautiful as a tree fairy that had walked out of a painting. She was unforgettable. This is inside the Tree of Life? Yin Luofeng raised his eyebrows and looked at the woman in front of him. Why did you bring us into the Tree of Life? The woman smiled gently and slowly walked towards the unconscious Lin Ruabai. Chapter 1483. Many people have come here to explore these days, but those people were not the people I was waiting for. So, I killed them all and disappeared from this world along with their corpses. Yin Luofeng finally understood why there weren't any corpses at the top of the mountain despite seeing so many corpses along the way. It turned out that the tree fairy was behind all this. Did you kill the life-bound beast of the fruit of soul? That's right. The woman smirked. Anyone who covets the tree of life deserves to die. Except for her, of course. The woman raised her chin, her voice domineering. You have a close relationship with her, which is why I spared your life. Yin Luofeng narrowed his eyes, and a cold glint flashed across them. Do you mean that even without Xiao Bai, you would still kill me? Yes, the Tree of Life can only be possessed by the Sacred Maiden tribe. The green-robed woman's eyes were condescending. However, the successor of the Sacred Maiden tribe is currently unconscious. I want her to stay in the body of the Tree of Life. As her friend, you should naturally stay with her. What if I don't agree? Yin Luofeng looked at the woman in green coldly. Arrogant human, the woman in green snorted. With a wave of her hand, a gust of wind blew out of her sleeve towards Yin Luofeng. Asterisk bang. Asterisk Yin Luofeng raised his hand to block, but was still hit by the woman's power. He quickly retreated until he hit the wall. Master, Xiao Mo's expression changed. He glared at the woman in green angrily. Aren't you just a tree that has turned into a spirit? How dare you hurt my master? Do you believe that I won't pluck out all your leaves? The woman in green curled her lips in disdain. You? If I'm not wrong, you should like the successor of my clan. Unfortunately, the Holy Maiden clan never allows women to interact with men from the outside world. Don't even think about getting her in this lifetime. Yin Luofeng raised his hand to block the enraged Xiao Mo. His evil eyes slowly turned towards the green-robed woman. I won't stay here. Similarly, I won't give Whitey to you. In the beginning, Yin Luofeng was indeed very tempted by the Tree of Life. However, when she saw that there was a tree fairy inside the Tree of Life, she temporarily gave up on the idea. The most important thing now was to get Little White and Little Mo out of this place. Now that you've come to my place, you still want to leave? The green-robed woman sneered. I didn't kill you because you're my clan's descendant. Don't push your luck. Yin Luofeng smiled coldly. If you don't let me leave, then I will leave this place even if I have to fight my way out. No one could stop her footsteps. Hee. The green-robed woman sneered. Then let me see your strength. Boom. The green-robed woman's body flashed, and she quickly rushed in front of Yin Luofeng. Her leg was like a gust of wind as she quickly kicked Yin Luofeng's stomach. Even though Yin Luofeng had quick reflexes and used his arms to block, he was still sent flying by her kick. His body fiercely slammed into the cold wall behind him. This woman was very strong. It should be above the fire. However, she still hadn't broken through to the saint level and was still within the saint level of Fan Tao. Master! Xiao Mo's eyes were red and her voice was filled with panic. Don't come over. Yin Luofeng slowly stood up from the ground and looked straight at the green-robed woman. Is that all your strength? Chapter 1484. The green-robed woman did not expect the young girl to be able to stand up under her attack. A hint of surprise appeared in her eyes. You're different from the humans I've seen before. Unfortunately, humans are still humans. Humans were greedy, selfish, cruel, merciless, and incomparably sinister. Forget it. The green-robed woman looked into the young girl's cold eyes. She waved her hand and said in a relaxed tone, "I don't need you to accompany my descendant here. You can leave now. However, I hope that you and my descendant will never meet again." Yun Luofeng stood upright in front of the green-robed woman. His beautiful face was filled with determination. "I was the one who brought Xiaobai to this place, so I must take her away." "Oomph." The green-robed woman scoffed. "I've already let you live. You still don't know what's good for you. I'll let you have a taste of the consequences of offending me." Whoosh! The green-robed woman raised her hand. Countless branches came from all directions and attacked Yun Luofeng. These branches were like swimming dragons. They were alive and agile. The jade-green branches seemed to have a life of their own as they quickly attacked Yun Luofeng. "Master, be careful." Little Mo carefully placed Little White on the ground. Then, he rushed towards Yun Luofeng without a care for anything else. His eyes were filled with anger, and his body was burning with flames of fury. However, just as he was about to reach Yun Luofeng, suddenly, the branch that seemed to have been given life instantly withered, and its soft branches drooped down. The green-robed woman turned pale with fright. She took a few steps back and stared at Yun Luofeng with her jade-green eyes. A white light suddenly flashed. In an instant, a little boy dressed in a white robe stood in front of Yun Luofeng. This little boy looked like he was carved from jade. His big round eyes were filled with killing intent. He was different from the innocent and naive boy of the past. At this moment, the little boy was like a little demon bathed in blood. The aura he exuded was terrifying. "A little tree man dares to bully my mother." The boy's words were clear but full of murderous intent. Don't be fooled by the fact that this little fellow only appeared at Yun Luofeng's side with the innocent appearance of a child. However, don't forget his identity. This little fellow was not human. It was not a spiritual beast either. It was a tree that could transform into a human. Furthermore, this tree had actually existed for thousands of years. But because it was heavily injured by someone, it degenerated into a tree species. How could such a murderous tree be as innocent and cute as a human boy? He was the most dangerous existence by Yun Luofeng's side. In her panic, the green-robed woman once again directed the tree branches to attack Yun Luofeng and the others. In the next second, she was completely stunned. The tree branch that was originally attacking Yun Luofeng actually turned around and attacked her instead. Caught off guard, the green-robed woman's clothes were torn apart by the branches, and the sharp branches cut her soft skin, causing blood to flow out. Fortunately, the Tree of Life's recovery ability was very strong. Therefore, the green-robed woman's wound was enveloped by a layer of faint green light, and her injury was gradually recovering. But now, the green-robed woman no longer cared about her own pain. Her shocked eyes were firmly fixed on the small tree. Her face was filled with disbelief. How? How could this be? We're different kinds of tree ants. How can you command my branches? Unless you are. Chapter 1485. The woman in green bit her lip, unable to utter the last few words. How could this be? How could such an existence appear here, and willingly recognize a human woman as its master? But other than it, who else could have such an ability? Kneel! The little boy shouted coldly with one hand behind his back. He was like a high and mighty king, looking disdainfully at the woman in green. Thump! The woman in green lost control of her legs and knelt in front of Yun Luofeng with a thud. Her forehead was covered in cold sweat, and her delicate body trembled slightly. Mother! The little tree glanced coldly at the woman in green, then turned to look at Yun Luofeng. The aura of a king suddenly disappeared, and it returned to its former innocence. This bad woman dares to bully you. I'll beat her up for you to vent your anger, okay? The little tree had wanted to rush out to teach Yun Luofeng a lesson after seeing that he was being bullied. However, Yun Luofeng, who was afraid that the spirit beasts would be in danger due to their impulsiveness, had cut off the connection with the grimoire space, making it impossible for him to come out. That's right. Although the little tree was powerful, The grimoire space did not listen to his commands. If the connection was cut off, he would not be able to come out. Fortunately, little Mo had decided to try everything in a desperate situation, while Yun Luofeng was relaxed. He had used his own power to restore the connection with the grimoire space. That was why the little tree had come out to teach the woman in green a lesson. The thought of this made the little tree pout angrily. Mother, Sister Huowa told me to tell you that although I know you're thinking for them, they're very angry that you're acting on your own. She said that she's following you because she plans to face life and death with you. If you face danger alone every time, what's the use of them? Besides, isn't the purpose of the spirit beast to protect you from danger? Yun Luofeng's face darkened. He said sternly, Little tree, I admit that I was acting on my own and did not consider your feelings. But to me, each and every one of you is very important. If I need you to lose your lives in order to survive, then I'd rather die myself. That's right. I'm very selfish, so selfish that I don't want any of you to disappear. Besides, spiritual beasts aren't tools of war. They're my family that will accompany me for life. Seeing Sapling's dejected expression, Yin Luofeng raised his hand and rubbed his head. I cut off the connection before because I didn't know about your abilities. So, I can promise you in the future that I won't let you lose contact with me so easily, but I don't need you to die protecting me. It seemed that the warmth of the young girl's palm had lifted the little tree's spirits once again. He threw himself into Yun Luofeng's arms, and an innocent and lovely smile appeared on his face. If they had not seen what he had done before, perhaps everyone would have treated him as a human child. Mother, it was you who gave me life. I will never leave you in this lifetime. Yin Luofeng smiled. Suddenly, she seemed to remember something, and her expression froze. Sapling, you've been with me for almost 4 years, but I've never known your identity. Can you tell me now, who are you? Sapling's eyes were full of grievance. I'm not sure either. I'm too young now, and I've only inherited a portion of the inheritance's memories. When I grow up a few more years, perhaps I'll remember everything. Chapter 1486. Inherited Memories? Yin Luofeng raised her eyebrows. She had only heard that spirit beasts had inherited memories, but she had never heard that tree people had inherited memories. The green-robed woman kept her head down, not daring to look at Yin Luofeng and the small tree. However, she could not hide the surprise in her eyes. Had she not appeared for so many years that the world's views had changed? In the previous world, didn't humans like to enslave spirit beasts to work for them? Why had they become the companions of humans? It seemed that she had not appeared in the world for too long. Little Mo left Yin Luofeng's embrace and pointed at the green-robed woman. Mother, what are you going to do with this tree person? The little fellow's childish voice made the green-robed woman tremble. She lowered her head even more. If she had known that this lady would be by Yin Luofeng's side, she would not have made things difficult for her. The tree of life has a long history. I reckon there should be many fruits of life. Yin Luofeng stroked her chin. After obtaining the fruit of life, she could let the old man from the Yi family, and the others live for another 100 years. Oh, right, there was also Tianya. Tianya's wife was a spirit beast. As a spirit beast, she had a long lifespan. However, Tianya was only in the venerable realm and could only live for 120 years. If she was not given a fruit of life, perhaps in a few decades, they would be separated from each other. I only have 2 fruits of life here. The green-robed woman carefully took out 2 fruits of life and handed them to Yun Luofeng. 2. Yun Luofeng frowned. If I remember correctly, there is 1 fruit of life every 10 years. Hearing this, the green-robed woman smiled bitterly. It's been many years since I produced 1 fruit of life every 10 years. At that time, the spirit Shi on the continent was abundant, so I produced a lot of fruits of life. Later on, it became 1 every 20 years. However, every time I produce a fruit of life, it will be taken away by the Holy Maiden tribe. This is also why the Holy Maiden tribe has a longer lifespan than other forces. Unfortunately, there is a traitor in the Sacred Maiden tribe. The traitor took the opportunity to steal the Tree of Life. However, She didn't know that the reason why I was able to stay in the Sacred Maiden tribe was that the spiritual energy of the Sacred Maiden tribe allowed me to survive. Once I left, I would wither. Yin Luophone pondered in silence for a while before asking, "Since you've withered, how come you can still bear fruits of life?" "Withering takes time, and I won't wither immediately. It took me 40 years to wither, which is to say, recently, I happened to grow a fruit of life, so I withered completely." Yin Luophone raised her eyebrows. She finally understood the miracle that Yin Ku and the others were talking about. This miracle must have occurred when the fruit of life had grown. In the end, it had attracted a group of people who thought that a treasure had been unearthed. Yin Luophone walked up and took the fruit of life from the green-robed woman's hand, stowing it away into his space ring without any hesitation. "What's your name?" she asked, raising her eyebrows. The green-clothed woman lowered her head. "Bai Xiao, I need a lot of fruits of life. From now on, you will follow me. What do you think?" The girl's voice was domineering, but it caused Bai Xiao to be slightly dazed. "I've already withered. If you want me to produce fruits of life, I need a lot of spiritual energy. Otherwise, I won't be able to bear fruits of life." Chapter 1487. Bai Xiao smiled bitterly. "Besides, so what if you can help me pull myself together? I can only grow one every 20 years. Even at my peak, it will take me 10 years. If you want me to mass produce it, I'm sorry, but I can't do it." It wasn't that Bai Xiao didn't want to produce the fruit of life, but that she couldn't do it. "Little Mo, what do you think?" Yin Luophone turned to look at Little Mo and asked. Little Mo was silent for a while. "Aren't you afraid that she'll betray you by forming a contract with her?" "All right." Yin Luophone was indeed afraid that Bai Xiao would betray him, so he formed a contract with the spirit beast. After the contract was completed, Bai Xiao suddenly felt her body shake, as if there was an endless amount of spiritual energy gathering towards her. What's going on?" Bai Xiao turned pale with fright. She hurriedly released her mental power and scanned the scene outside the Tree of Life. Since Bai Xiao couldn't leave the Tree of Life, she could only use this method to observe everything that was happening around her. When the scene outside entered her eyes, Bai Xiao was stunned. Initially, she had appeared at the top of the mountain. Now, what entered her eyes was a vast expanse of wilderness. The wilderness was densely packed with medicinal fields. The medicinal herbs in these medicinal fields were different from the ones she had seen before. It was as if even the medicinal herbs were filled with abundant spiritual energy. What made her even more happy was that the density of the spiritual energy in this wild field was too high. She had lived for millions of years, but she had never seen such abundant spiritual energy in the continent. "This is great. This place seems to be tailor-made for me." Bai Xiao stood up from the ground, her beautiful face full of excitement. "As long as I live in this place, I'll be able to grow a fruit of life for 2 years. Oh no, 1 year at most." Little Mo glanced at Bai Xiao and snorted. "If it wasn't for the fact that you can produce the fruit of life, I would have already asked the little tree to kill you for treating my master like this." Bai Xiao's face turned red. Thinking of what had happened before, her heart was filled with guilt. She had always looked down on humans. If it wasn't for the fact that she was his successor, she wouldn't have let her enter the Tree of Life. Who would have thought that this human woman would actually be able to gain the loyalty of that lord, especially when she carried such a powerful space with her? Little Mo's anger gradually subsided when he saw Bai Xiao's ashamed expression. However, he did not forget to boast. "This space is closely related to my master's strength. The stronger my master is, the denser the spiritual energy in the space will be. In the future, it will be normal for a fruit to grow every month, let alone a year." "Really?" The green-robed woman was very excited. She hesitated for a moment before taking out another item from her sleeve. "I stole this from a Sacred Maiden tribe 1,000 years ago. At that time, the Sacred Maiden tribe was very powerful, unlike now, where even I couldn't protect them. Therefore, I secretly stole this item from one of my tribe members. If you need it, I can give it to you." In the green-robed woman's hand was a bottle of green liquid. It faintly emitted a gem-like radiance, looking very dazzling. "This is..." Yin Luofeng was startled. For a moment, she actually didn't recognize what the green-clothed woman gave her. An idea flashed through the sapling's mind, and it said in a childish voice, "It's the blood of a giant dragon." Chapter 1488. Dragon blood? What's the use of it? Ordinary dragon blood can only play the role of strengthening the body, but this is not an ordinary dragon blood. It's the legendary spiritual dragon. Spiritual dragon? Seeing the puzzled looks of the others, Xiao Shu continued. This spiritual dragon is not hatched from a dragon egg. It's a naturally formed dragon. Eating its meat can instantly make an ordinary person break through to the spiritual king realm. Its blood is even more precious. It's enough for a person to break through to the holy venerate realm. Moreover, it can also play the role of strengthening the body. Xiao Shu, how do you know about this? Yin Luofeng looked at Xiao Shu and asked. A bright smile appeared on Xiao Shu's face. It's what my inherited memory told me. However, this bottle of spiritual dragon blood is too much. If you consume it directly, your body will explode immediately. Therefore, you have to dilute it first before absorbing it. Xiao Mo's eyes lit up immediately. It was just trying to blow up by Xiao. After all, this woman had lived for so many years. How could she not have any treasures on her? Who knew that she actually had such a precious item after that explosion? Even though the jade serpent grass could make a holy venerate break through, it had not evolved into a spiritual snake grass yet. Had it not? Moreover, the jade serpent grass could only play the role of breaking through and not strengthening the body. The spiritual dragon blood was different. Not only could it make a breakthrough, but it could also increase the strength of the user's body by more than one level. It could be said that it could be refined into an iron wall. Bai Xiao. Xiao Mo looked at Bai Xiao with a sinister glint in his eyes. You see, my master's breakthrough is also a lot of benefits for you. If you have any other items on you, take them out and give them to my master. Bai Xiao looked at Xiao Mo carefully. Why did she feel that this young man's smile was very treacherous? No. Bai Xiao shook her head. I only stole one thing in total. I don't have anything else. Xiao Mo was a little depressed. It seemed that Bai Xiao was really poor. After so many years, she had only taken one item from the Sacred Maiden tribe. What a pity. I'm going to absorb this spiritual dragon blood now. You guys step back first. Yin Luofeng took out a bottle with a flip of his hand. He poured the spiritual dragon blood into the bottle and mixed it with clear spring water. When the two fused together, he noticed that the green dragon's blood was much lighter, no longer as pure green as before. Then, Yin Luofeng poured the blood in the bottle into his mouth, wrapped it with spiritual energy, and sent it into his lungs. After that, she sat down cross-legged and started to absorb the energy within the dragon's blood. The dragon's blood was too overbearing. She did not dare to absorb all the power contained in the blood in one go. Hence, she had to absorb it drop by drop so that her body could withstand this overbearing power. Because of this slow absorption, she sat there for half a month. After half a month, a rumbling sound could be heard, and a tempest of advancement spread out in the room, causing Yin Luofeng to enter a new realm. However, this was not the end. After leveling up, Yin Luofeng felt a powerful force coursing through her meridians, causing her body to convulse in pain. Mother, this is the spiritual dragon's blood, helping you build your body. The small tree's gaze was fixed on Yin Luofeng. So you must hold on. Chapter 1489. Even though Yin Luofeng's endurance was very strong, she still couldn't help but gasp under this kind of pain. She gritted her teeth, and her dark eyes were filled with determination. No matter how painful it was to reconstruct her body, she had to endure it. As long as she could become stronger, even if she had one foot in hell, she would never take it back. Crack, crack. At this moment, everyone could clearly hear the sound of bones breaking from Yin Luofeng's body. However, other than the initial gasp, she didn't make another sound. She stubbornly endured this kind of intense pain. Bai Zhao's green eyes flashed with surprise. She didn't think that this human could actually endure this kind of pain. Even the strong practitioners of the Sacred Lady tribe couldn't be like her. It was only now that Bai Zhao's opinion of Yin Luofeng gradually changed. As time passed, little Mo looked at Yun Luofeng anxiously. He wanted to help her, but he didn't know where to start. He knew that his master had to go through this personally. If he forcefully used the spiritual energy of the divine grimoire to reduce her pain, the effect would be counterproductive. Back then, Yin Xiao had the help of the spiritual energy of the divine grimoire when she cut out her heart to extract blood. Now, the pain that Yin Luofeng was experiencing was no less than the pain of cutting out her heart to extract blood. Reconstructing her tibia and flesh was equivalent to crushing all the bones in her body and then recombining them. One could imagine how much pain this was. Even some strong practitioners who had been famous for a long time would faint from this kind of intense pain. Only Yun Luofeng clenched her teeth and forcefully endured it. The young girl's back was already drenched in sweat, and her beautiful face was pale. Her body was trembling slightly, but she still didn't make a sound. "Master, if you're in pain, you should cry out. You'll feel better." Little Mo's heart ached. Especially when he saw Yun Luofeng's stubborn look, his heart ached even more. This woman was always this strong. She had been like this since she was still in Huaxia in her previous life. Now, she was still unyielding. Yun Luofeng lowered her eyes. If she couldn't even endure this little bit of pain, then how could she even talk about stepping into the pinnacle of the mainland? How could she even fight alongside Yin Xiao? Bai Xiao could not stand it anymore. She hesitated for a while and said, "You've already broken through with the help of the spiritual dragon. Even if you give up now, you won't lose anything. I have a way to make you feel no pain in an instant." In the past, the people of the Sacred Maiden tribe could not bear this kind of pain. Once they broke through, they immediately used that method. However, the result was that the reconstruction of the body failed. "I'm fine." She clenched her teeth and used all her strength to say these 3 words. After that, she no longer had the strength to say another word. She wanted to become stronger. The only way to become stronger was through opportunities. Now that she had such an opportunity, she would never give it up. Bai Zhao's eyes were filled with doubt as she stared at the young girl's determined expression. She did not understand why Yin Luofeng was unwilling to give up. Wasn't it enough to use the spiritual dragon's blood to break through? Little Mo seemed to sense Bai Zhao's doubts and turned to glance at her. If Master wants to break through, she doesn't need to use the spiritual dragon's blood. She only needs to wait for the spirit serpent grass to complete its evolution, and she can also advance to the high-level holy venerable rank. Therefore, the spiritual dragon's blood's greatest use is to reconstruct her body and make it stronger. Chapter 1490. The reason why the Dragon Clan was famous in the continent was not only because of their powerful strength, but also because of the toughness of their skin. When she was at a lower level, Yin Luofeng could still fight someone of a higher level. However, as her strength increased, it would not be so easy to fight someone of a higher level. For this reason, she would not give up the opportunity in front of her. But Bai Zhao's eyes showed confusion. The masters of the Sacred Maiden tribe at that time, even if they wanted to try the effect of the spirit dragon's blood at the beginning, they all gave up halfway. No one could persist until the end. Can she really do it? I don't know about others, but she can definitely do it. Little Mo was the person who had followed Yin Luofeng for the longest time. He had also watched Yin Luofeng grow. Back then, when she was at Huaxia University, Yin Luofeng was called a madman. That was because there was nothing in this world that she did not dare to do. Now that she was in a different world, it was the same. She was so desperate not, because she was not afraid of death. On the contrary, she was very afraid of death. Compared to death, she was more afraid of not being able to protect her loved ones. In her previous life, Yun Luofeng was an orphan. In this life, she had received warmth. How could she let that warmth leave her? In order to maintain this warmth, she was willing to risk her life to improve her strength. Bai Zhao's heart seemed to be shaken. Her confused green eyes stared fixedly at Yin Luofeng, as if she was talking to herself. "She's different from the humans I know." In the beginning, Bai Zhao had only submitted to Yin Luofeng because of the small tree. After all, how could a proud tree person like her be willing to be loyal to a human? Until Yin Luofeng's willpower, which made people look at him in a new light, gradually made her heart surrender, even though she didn't know it yet. Bai Xiao, how long will it take to rebuild the body? Little Mo pondered for a while and asked, I don't know. I only know that the elders of the Sacred Maiden tribe only persisted for 3 to 5 days before they couldn't take it anymore. As for how many days it takes to succeed, I have not seen it. Bai Xiao shook her head, her green eyes staring at Yin Luofeng. After Bai Xiao said this, Little Mo no longer spoke. He found a place to sit down and quietly waited for Yin Luofeng. 10 days. Time passed in a flash. In these 10 days, Yin Luofeng's face became paler and paler, and her breathing became weaker and weaker. Even so, she still relied on her last breath to hold on. Bai Xiao clenched her fists tightly and looked nervously at Yin Luofeng. She wanted to know if this young girl could succeed in something that so many cultivators of the Sacred Maiden tribe could not do. Bang! Suddenly, the girl's head fell down and her body landed heavily on a tree stump at the side. Little Mo turned pale with fright. He quickly got up and rushed to Yin Luofeng's side. He asked worriedly, Master, how is it? Yin Luofeng smiled. Her face was pale, but that didn't affect her peerless smile. Bai Xiao had lived for thousands of years, but only at this moment did she see the smile that made everything in the world pale in comparison. It was hard for her to imagine that a human could be this beautiful. It would not be an exaggeration to say that she was a beauty that could bring calamity to a country. Little Mo, look, the girl opened her hand. Her fist was wrapped in a layer of hard dragon scales. The dragon scales spread down from the back of her hand, so much so that her entire body seemed to be encased in a suit of dragon scales. Chapter 1491. I did it. Yes, she did it. Not only did the toughness of her body increase by another level, but she also had a dragon scale armor. With this dragon scale armor, she might be able to withstand a sage's attack without getting hurt. It was like thunder. Little Mo was stunned. He never thought that the spiritual dragon's blood would have such an effect. It seemed like Yin Luofeng had really picked up a treasure this time. Congratulations, Master. Little Mo could not hide his excitement as he spoke. Yin Luofeng smiled. Unfortunately, this dragon scale armor can only be summoned for a short period of time. At most, it can only last for 3 minutes. Moreover, every time it is used, it will use up more than half of the spiritual energy in the divine grimoire space. As expected, hearing Yin Luofeng's words, Little Mo realized that the spiritual energy in the divine grimoire space was almost used up. Luckily, the big chrysanthemum flower of the small tree was quickly recovering the spiritual energy in the divine grimoire space. However, no matter how strong the chrysanthemum flower was, it couldn't fill up the spiritual energy in the divine grimoire space in a short time. Little Mo, how long has it been? Yin Luofeng raised his eyes and looked at the youth beside him. You spent a month to break through and another 10 days to reconstruct your body. So, it's been more than a month now. More than a month? Yin Luofeng raised his eyebrows and stood up. Let's go. It's time for us to leave this place and find those people. If it wasn't for Bai Xiao, Su Jun and the others might have already been wiped out. As for Yun Yi, although he was strong, he had no intelligence. If she wasn't here, he couldn't be counted on to eliminate all the enemies. On the top of the mountain, Yun Yi's eyes were empty and lifeless. He stood at the top of the mountain like a huge mountain, giving off an invisible pressure. Yin Ku and the others hadn't left yet. They set up camp at the top of the mountain, waiting for Yin Luofeng to return. Whoosh! Suddenly, a ray of light fell. When Yin Ku and the others came back to their senses, they found a girl in white standing in front of them with a baby. Why are you still here? Yin Luofeng was startled and frowned. Yin Ku looked a little ashamed. It was us who caused you to offend Xianqing's sect, so we were waiting for you here. Waiting for me? Yin Luofeng's brows relaxed. I have something to do right now. You can leave now. Yin Ku, Fu Jin, and the others exchanged glances. Seeing that Yin Luofeng was about to leave, they hurriedly followed. What? Yin Luofeng stopped in his tracks and said without turning his head, You are not willing to leave. Yin Ku's face was a little red. as if she was a little embarrassed to make a request. "We want to follow you." Yin Luofeng paused. "Is there a wormhole?" The wormhole was the bridge between the 7 continents and the soulless continent. Only this wormhole could connect the 2 continents. Yes. Didn't understand what Yin Luofeng was talking about, so she hurriedly nodded. "I know a place with a spatial wormhole. Furthermore, I have some relations with that impulsive family that's guarding it." "Miss Yin, why are you asking about this?" "In the Wuhui continent, there is a force called the Medical Tower. It was established by me. If you want to follow me, join the Medical Tower." As soon as he finished speaking, Yun Luofeng's figure flashed and disappeared before their eyes. Yun Yi hurriedly followed and hurriedly left the mountaintop. Chapter 1492. Yin Ku, what decision do you think we should make? Fu Jin was startled. The resources of a no-return continent are not as good as the 7 continents, but it is peaceful. Yin Ku sighed helplessly. All these years, the 4 of us have suffered a lot. In order to survive, we have to practice hard, but I have had enough of this kind of life. Since Miss Yin has said this, then why not go to the no-return continent? I don't want to participate in the 7 continents anymore, and I believe that we will not regret joining the medical tower of the no-return continent. Yin Ku's heart was filled with confidence. Although the medical tower was in the no-return continent, it was Yun Luofeng's force. One day, it would be famous even in the 7 continents. Naturally, their status would rise along with it. Okay, then let's go to the no-return continent now. In the void not far away, the girl stopped and waited for the puppet man behind her. After waiting for the puppet man to catch up, she once again headed in the direction of the Shenqing sect. "Mother, do you want Yin Ku and the others to protect the medical tower for you?" Xiao Shu blinked and asked in a childish voice. Yin Luofeng smiled. "Their strength is not very strong in the 7 continents, but if they go to the no-return continent, they will be the top existences. With them protecting the medical tower and the Yi family, I can also develop my force here with peace of mind." Therefore, she agreed to let Yin Ku and the others follow her. "Mother, will they go to the no-return continent?" "Yes." Yin Luofeng only said one word, but his face was filled with confidence. His pair of dark eyes were as dazzling as obsidian. Shenqing sect. Inside the palace, the middle-aged man's face was gloomy. With a bang, he slammed his hand on the table and said coldly, "If I didn't come out early this time, how long were you planning to hide it from me? My own son was killed by someone, and none of you informed me." Everyone was silent. Facing the angry middle-aged man, they did not dare to say a word. "Father," Su Jun pondered for a moment and slowly stepped forward. He had just called out when he was interrupted by the middle-aged man's fierce voice. "Luo-chun is your younger brother. You watched as your younger brother died, yet you still dared to hide it from me? Is this how I taught you to be brothers?" The middle-aged man was so angry that his whole body was trembling, and his face was ashen. Su Jun's eyes flashed. When he raised his eyes couldn't help but turn red. He knelt down in front of the middle-aged man. "Father, it's all my fault. Little brother died because of the profound Azure sect, and because of me." The middle-aged man suppressed the anger in his chest and asked through gritted teeth, "Tell me, what happened a month ago? Why did Luo-chun die on AI Mountain?" "Father, that day my younger brother and I brought Xiao Bai to Mount AI. Who knew that we would meet Xiao Bai's master?" "Xiao Bai's master?" The middle-aged man frowned. "What does Miss Lin's master have to do with Luo-chun's death?" "Father, Xiao Bai's master is not a good person. She already knew about Xiao Bai's identity, and that's why she accepted him as her disciple." Su Jun's eyes flickered as he continued. "Furthermore, that woman forced Xiao Bai to marry her because he was her disciple." Chapter 1493. When the middle-aged man heard Su Jun's words, he became even angrier. If it had been Su Luo-chun who said this, he might have been skeptical. However, Su Jun never lied. As long as he said it, it must have really happened. "Where's Miss Lin now?" he said through gritted teeth. Su Jun's eyes darkened. They were filled with sorrow and pain. Seeing his expression, the middle-aged man felt a sense of unease in his heart. "Father, Xiao Bai has been controlled by that woman. I don't know what she did to make Xiao Bai fall into a coma. Little brother was killed by that woman because he tried to save Xiao Bai. Su Jun's expression was full of sorrow. She also said that since she is Xiao Bai's master, she should be the one to decide Xiao Bai's marriage. Even if the person Xiao Bai likes is me, she will never let Xiao Bai get what he wants. How dare you? The middle-aged man slammed his fist on the table. The veins on his forehead bulged. Miss Lin's status is so noble. How can someone like her make the decision? What an arrogant idiot. Compared to his son's death, he was more angry that someone dared to decide Lin Ruobai's marriage. Their Xianqing sect was determined to get Lin Ruobai. Junior, you know that the Sacred Lady tribe doesn't interact with men outside of the tribe. All the women are lonely until they grow old. However, she is the successor that the Sacred Lady tribe has been looking for. If she falls in love with you, the Sacred Lady tribe can't make the decision for her. The middle-aged man sighed. That's why I wanted the two of you to develop a relationship first. When the time is right, I will inform the Sacred Lady tribe. But who would have thought that just as the relationship between the two of you developed, you would be intercepted by an idiot? As such, I can only inform the Sacred Lady tribe first. In the eyes of the Xianqing sect's leader, Lin Ruobai was already his daughter-in-law. How could he allow anyone to snatch her away? Especially when that woman was so arrogant and wanted to decide Lin Ruobai's marriage. She didn't even look at her own status. Since when did she become the successor of the Sacred Maiden tribe? Father, you don't have to worry about this matter. Half a month ago, I have already disclosed this matter to the Sacred Maiden tribe. I believe they have already received the news. Su Jun's eyes flashed with a haze. Moreover, I also told them that in order to let her brother marry Lin Ruobai, that woman did not hesitate to let her brother fall into a coma and be in imminent danger. To be honest, Su Jun did not know the relationship between little Mo and Yun Luofeng. However, he did not mind fabricating an identity out of thin air. As long as the Sacred Maiden tribe could believe it, it was enough. Good. The middle-aged man gritted his teeth. This matter will be handled by the Sacred Maiden tribe. I don't believe that those people dare to be enemies with the Sacred Maiden tribe. Thinking of this, he looked at Su Jun again and asked, if the Sacred Maiden tribe saves Miss Lin, do you have the confidence to make her propose marriage in person? This, Su Jun hesitated. If it had been at the beginning, he would definitely have been full of confidence, thinking that Lin Ruobai could not be without him. However, when he thought of Lin Ruobai's coldness towards him on Mount Ai, his heart began to pound. What? You have been together for a year. Can't you make her secretly fall in love with you? I remember you said before that Lin Ruobai has fallen in love with you. The middle-aged man's face was a little gloomy as he asked coldly. Su Jun gritted his teeth and looked up firmly. I have confidence in Xiao Bai. She will definitely be my wife. Chapter 1494. The middle-aged man, whose face had been clouded with gloom, immediately brightened up when he heard his son's confident voice. I'm relieved that you're so confident. His face darkened once again as he said this. As for your brother's death, I will definitely avenge him. He had said the last few words through gritted teeth. It was clear how angry he was towards Yun Luofeng. Sect Master, something bad has happened. At this moment, a disciple of the Xianqing sect staggered in and fell to the ground. He did not even have time to get up before he hurriedly said, someone killed their way into the sect and killed many of our disciples. What? The middle-aged man flew into a rage and slammed his palm against the wall, instantly creating a hole in it. His expression was ferocious, and his eyes were filled with anger as he shouted in a stern voice, who dares to cause trouble in the Xianqing sect? Men, come with me to kill the thief immediately. After saying this, the middle-aged man's figure turned into a hurricane, and he quickly rushed out of the door. At this moment, the Xianqing sect had already turned into a river of blood. Countless Xianqing sect disciples lay in pools of blood, their eyes wide open as they died with grievances. Even so, there were still more Xianqing sect disciples who charged forward without any regard for their lives, intending to kill the person who had ambushed them. In the middle of the encirclement was a strong-looking man. The man's muscles were well-defined, and his face was expressionless. He was like a machine that only knew how to kill, completely devoid of emotions. However, Soo-jun immediately saw the woman in white standing next to the strong-looking man. The woman in white had outstanding features. Her robes were whiter than snow, and her fine black hair fluttered in the wind. She was beautiful beyond compare. She was holding a baby in her hand. Even though the baby was still young, one could still see the evil light in his eyes. "Father, this is the woman. She stole Xiao Bai and killed Luo Chun." Soo-jun gritted his teeth as he said this word by word. As soon as he said this, Yun Luo Feng, who had been watching the battle, suddenly turned his head. His evil eyes landed coldly on Soo-jun's body. "How dare you?" The middle-aged man roared and released his aura. In an instant, he rushed towards Yun Luo Feng. His eyes were filled with killing intent. "You kill my son. Today, I will make you pay with your lives." A smug smile appeared in Soo-jun's eyes as he watched his father charge towards Yun Luo Feng. No matter how strong Yun Luofeng's guards were, his father was already at the Saint Monarch realm. These people actually single-handedly killed their way into the profound Azure sect, which meant that they were dead for sure. "Azure Wings, get out of the way." The girl's commanding voice exploded in Azure Wings' ears. He obeyed the order and retreated behind Yun Luo Feng, exposing the girl's thin body to the middle-aged man's attack. "Die!" The middle-aged man let out an explosive shout. His mighty fist was already right in front of his eyes. It was like a meteor, bringing with it an endless amount of power. In everyone's eyes, it was impossible for this slender girl to withstand the might of the sect master's fist. Under this power, she was destined to die. Boom! A gust of wind rose around the young girl. Under this gust of wind, the young girl's cheeks were gradually covered by extremely hard dragon scales. It was as if she was wearing a suit of armor made of dragon scales, majestic and domineering. Chapter 1495. The middle-aged man was startled, but he couldn't retract his fist. The fist that contained the power to destroy heaven and earth landed on Yun Luofeng's chest. Boom! In an instant, his body seemed to have suffered a heavy blow, and his body was thrown out violently. He spat out a mouthful of blood, and his face was full of horror. "Impossible! This is impossible! You're just a Saint Venerate. How can you resist my attack?" Such a young Saint Venerate was a miracle in the 7 continents. However, a Saint Venerate was still a Saint Venerate. How could he resist the power of Saint? This was something that was simply impossible to happen. Could it be? The middle-aged man's eyes fell on Yun Luofeng's dragon scale armor, and his eyes flashed with greed. That's right, it must be this armor. If he could take off this armor, his strength would definitely increase by another level. The power of a Saint Venerate is only this. The young girl's lips curled into a smile. However, the middle-aged man could feel the contempt and mockery in this smile. His heart suddenly surged with anger. "You killed my son. I will definitely settle this debt with you. Of course, if you're willing to give me your dragon scale armor as an apology, I might spare your life." Yun Luo Feng laughed. "I'm afraid you won't have the life to enjoy my armor." "Ha ha ha." The middle-aged man threw his head back and laughed crazily. "Girl, you probably don't know what kind of enemy you have provoked. That's why you dare to say such words without knowing the immensity of heaven and earth. Since you are also aware of Lady Lin's identity, then I can tell you that the Sacred Maiden Tribe will not let you off for what you have done to Lady Lin." What she had done to Lin Ruobai. Yun Luo Feng raised her brows and subconsciously glanced at Soo-jun. Needless to say, she knew that Soo-jun had pushed the blame for the loss of Little White and Su Luochen's death on her head. Soo-jun naturally saw Yun Luofeng's gaze, but he raised his head fearlessly to meet her eyes. He didn't feel the slightest shame for what he had said before. "Girl, you relied on the fact that you're Lady Lin's master to force her to marry someone she doesn't love. Have you not considered the consequences of your actions? How could the Sacred Maiden Tribe allow you to treat their people like this?" The middle-aged man sneered, his face full of mockery. "Besides, Miss Lin and my son are in love. You're destined to have a bad ending if you break them up. In the past, Little M.O. would not have appeared without Yun Luofeng's instructions. But now, hearing that someone dared to slander Yin Luofeng and claim that Lin Ruobai and Su Jun were in love, he couldn't help but run out of the divine grimoire. Su Jun and his son were startled when they saw little Mo appear out of thin air. They didn't know where this kid came from. Little Mo glared fiercely at Su Jun and his son. Xiaobai already said that she would marry me a long time ago. When did she fall in love with this bastard? Su Jun came back to his senses and whispered into the middle-aged man's ear, "Is the man who wanted to snatch Xiaobai away from me. Xiaobai's master even forced Xiaobai to marry him." Hearing this, the middle-aged man knew what was going on. He sneered and looked at little Mo, since he said that Lady Lin said that she wanted to marry you. I wonder if you can release her and let her say it herself? Little Mo was so angry that his whole body was trembling. The murderous look in his eyes became even more intense. Chapter 1496. Little Mo. Yin Luofeng muttered to herself, "One more minute." He knew what this meant. The armor could only last for 3 minutes. Now that 2 more minutes had passed, there was only 1 minute left. Thus, no matter how angry little Mo was, he could only take 2 steps back. While Su Jun and his son were still trying to figure out what Yin Luofeng meant, Yin Luofeng had already flown in front of the middle-aged man. Her hand that was covered in dragon scales slammed into the middle-aged man's chest. Puffed. At that moment, the middle-aged man's body was immediately sent flying. He spat out another mouthful of blood, fell to the ground, and no longer made a sound. Su Jun was stunned. Everyone from the profound Azure sect was also stunned. What followed was a wave of panic. The middle-aged man's chest had caved in. Fresh blood continuously flowed out of his mouth. His eyelids were like the eyes of a dead fish, and he looked extremely miserable. "Father!" Su Jun shouted at the top of his lungs. He quickly arrived in front of the middle-aged man. He carried the middle-aged man's body and cried out sorrowfully, "Father, wake up. The profound Azure sect cannot do without you. Don't scare your son." Unfortunately, the middle-aged man could not be any more dead at this time. Yin Luofeng was also stunned. She looked at her own fist, then looked at the middle-aged man who had died in such a miserable manner. She didn't expect that a single fist of hers could instantly kill a saint expert. "Master," little Mo seemed to understand Yin Luofeng's doubts and explained patiently, "He isn't a true sage." "Not a sage?" Yin Luofeng was a little surprised. "That's right." Little Mo nodded. "In this world, there are many treasures that can increase one's strength. For example, the spirit serpent grass and the spirit dragon's blood. These items can allow a cultivator to have a complete breakthrough. However, these items can only be found by luck." Little Mo paused for a moment before continuing. "That's why many people choose the second best option and use flawed items to break through. Take this Black Azure sect master, for example. If I'm not wrong, he must have consumed a fruit called the scarlet fruit. This fruit can allow him to reach the level of a Saint Monarch. His lifespan and aura will also be no different from a Saint Monarch. However, his physique is still at the high-level Saint Venerable level. This is also the reason why you were able to instantly kill him. If you were to encounter a real Saint Monarch, even with the dragon scale armor, you wouldn't be able to win so easily." After hearing little Mo's explanation, Yin Luofeng was enlightened. The difference between a Saint Lord and a Saint Venerate was too huge. Even with the dragon scale armor, she couldn't have killed him with a single punch. "You kill my younger brother or my father." Su Jun turned his head and glared hatefully at Yin Luofeng. "One day, I will kill you to vent my hatred." The small tree blinked its eyes and turned its cute little face to Yin Luofeng. "Can I go kill him?" His words were spoken in a very relaxed manner, no different from a casual greeting. It was like asking, "Can I go eat?" Let Yin handle these matters. Yin Luofeng held the small tree's hand. As long as the Black Azure sect master was no longer around, no one else was a threat. Suddenly, Su Jun seemed to feel something. His body stiffened and he raised his head excitedly to look at the azure blue void in front of him. In this void, countless white petals were falling from the sky. A group of women dressed in white with their hair combed into buns followed behind. In front of them was another woman dressed in white. Chapter 1497. This woman was different from the maids behind her. She was beautiful and sacred, like a fairy that was above the mortal world. She stood proudly in the air. Lady Chinyu! Su-jun shouted excitedly, almost dancing with joy. He glared fiercely at Yin Luofeng, a smug smile on his face. The people of the sacred maiden tribe are here. This time, I want to see how arrogant you can be. Chinyu descended from the sky expressionlessly. Her white dress was very long, and it reached the ground. Her hair was like a waterfall, reaching her waist. Looks like I've come at the wrong time. The woman in white glanced at the corpses and blood that littered the ground. Her willowy eyebrows gently furrowed, and her arrogant eyes were filled with impatience. Su-jun, I've come on the orders of the clan leader to find you to understand the situation. I want to know who has kidnapped the successor of my clan. Su-jun was agitated. He glared at Yin Luofeng and said, It's this woman. She kidnapped Xiao Bai and used her master's name to force Xiao Bai to marry someone she doesn't love. Lady Chinyu, you must save Xiao Bai. Hearing Su-jun address Lin Ruobai so intimately, Chinyu's brows furrowed even tighter, and a trace of impatience flashed across her eyes. You're saying that she kidnapped the successor of my clan? Her beautiful eyes had already turned to Yin Luofeng, and her slightly raised chin showed the arrogance of the maidens. Su-jun, tell me the specifics of the situation before I can make a decision. It's like this. Su-jun took a deep breath and said slowly, That day, I saw Xiao Bai in danger in the forest, so I saved her. At that time, I was very confused as to why she would appear in such a dangerous place alone. Then, she told me that her master had thrown her into the forest and planned to feed her to the wolves and leopards. Su-jun said fiercely, I can't believe there's such a cruel master in this world. I saw that Xiao Bai had nowhere to go, so I took her in. Who knew that the good times didn't last long? That goddamn master actually came knocking on my door. I don't know how she found out about the relationship between Xiao Bai and the Holy Maiden tribe. She didn't hesitate to force Xiao Bai to marry someone she didn't love. Lord Chinyu, in this past year, Xiao Bai and I have already fallen in love with each other. She has even said that other than me, she would rather die than marry any other man. Hence, I suspect that something has happened to Xiao Bai. Su-jun wiped the tears from the corner of his eyes. If something has really happened to her, then I will be smashed into pieces. I will never let the person who hurt her off. Even Su-jun himself was moved by his own words. He believed that there was no reason for Chinyu not to be touched. Therefore, he glanced at Chinyu out of the corner of his eye, only to discover that this woman's expression was as cold and inhuman as usual. Lady Chinyu, he called out, a little uneasily. Chinyu didn't say anything. Her beautiful eyes were staring at the young girl with her arms crossed in front of her. Her voice was cold without a trace of warmth. Where's my clan's successor? Is what Su-jun said true? For the Holy Maiden tribe to be able to survive until now, they would not only listen to one side of the story. Therefore, it was imperative for Chinyu to find Lin Ruobai first and find out the truth from her mouth. If it was really as Su-jun said, that this woman had really treated the successor of the Holy Maiden tribe like this, then they would never let her off. She can't come out. Yin Luofeng pondered for a moment before speaking slowly. Chapter 1498. Su-jun smiled proudly, but he was afraid that the sacred maiden tribe would see his misfortune. He hurriedly stopped smiling and said anxiously, What do you mean by she can't come out? I know, you must have done something to Little White. Yin Luofeng glanced at Su-jun coldly. This glance made Su-jun's heart tremble, and a chill came from the bottom of his heart. Chinyu frowned slightly and looked coldly at Yin Luofeng. I hope that you can immediately let the successor of my tribe appear. Otherwise, I will believe Su-jun's words and think that you harmed the successor of my tribe. In fact, it was very simple to let Little White appear. However, Little White was still in a deep sleep. If Little White appeared in this state, there is not much difference between not appearing and not appearing. I said that she can't come out for the time being. If you have the patience, you can wait a little longer. If you don't, then I can't do anything. Facing the sacred maiden tribe, Yin Luofeng's eyes were still filled with arrogance, but the other party's face suddenly darkened. All these years, she had never seen anyone who dared to be arrogant in front of her. This woman actually did not take the sacred maiden tribe seriously. If you don't release the successor of my tribe, then don't blame me for being impolite. A cold light flashed in the eyes of the woman in white as she ordered coldly, "Take her down." Yes. Hearing this, the female attendants in white surrounded Yin Luofeng's side and surrounded him in the center. Surrounded by this group of maids, Yin Luofeng frowned slightly. She held the small hand of the small tree, and there was no fear in her pair of dark eyes. "Master, don't go head-on with the sacred maiden tribe. You will suffer." Bai Zhao's anxious voice came from within her soul. Although the small tree is powerful, the sacred maiden tribe has a treasure that can restrain the tree men. Otherwise, the sacred maiden tribe would not have manipulated the tree men. Yin Luofeng's heart sank little by little. "Master," seeing that Yin Luofeng did not listen to her advice, Bai Zhao stomped her feet angrily. "Leave this place first and bear with it for a while. When Lord Little White wakes up, he can explain the situation to the sacred maiden tribe." At first, Bai Zhao did not speak because she was stunned by Su Jun's words. She had never seen such a sinister and cunning human being. How dare she claim that the successor of the sacred maiden tribe is in love with her? And he said that Master killed Lord Xiaobai? One must know that Lin Ruobai had clearly consumed the fruit of the soul, which was why she had fallen into a coma. Unfortunately, even if Xiaobai appeared, these people would not believe that she had fallen into a coma because of the fruit of the soul. They would only think that Yin Luofeng had poisoned her. After all, after eating the fruit of soul, there was no other abnormality except lethargy. There was no divine doctor in the sacred maiden tribe, so it was impossible to determine Little White's situation. "Bai Zhao, can't you help Master?" Fire was also very anxious and asked anxiously. Bai Zhao shook her head with a bitter smile. "I can't leave this place. Otherwise, I could explain the situation to the sacred maiden tribe." If that wasn't the case, why would she be so anxious? When Yin Luofeng heard Bai Zhao's words, he glanced at the group of successors of the sacred lady tribe in front of him. There was an unprecedented seriousness in his eyes. As time was up, the dragon scale armor on her body had disappeared. If she wanted to continue summoning the dragon scale armor, she could only wait for the spiritual energy in the divine grimoire to recover. However, looking at the sky full of maids in white, Yin Luofeng understood that this time it would not be easy for her to escape. Chapter 1499. The maidservants in white in the sky had already swooped down towards Yin Luofeng, while the maidservants on the ground were also attacking her. Xiao Shu's adorable face lit up with a bright smile. "Mother, leave these people to me." Whoosh! In an instant, countless vines spread out from under Xiao Shu's body. The long vines immediately wrapped around the maidservants in white who were rushing towards Yin Luofeng, binding their bodies so tightly that they could not breathe. Su Jun had already been scared silly. He had never expected that the little boy beside Yin Luofeng would possess such formidable strength. Tree person? Qin Yu was a little surprised. "I didn't expect you to be a tree person." Tree people were different from spiritual beasts. A tree needed to cultivate for many years before it could cultivate to have the intelligence of a human, especially a tree that could transform into a human. It was truly one in a million. Wasn't the Sacred Lady Tribe's Tree of Life very powerful? Unfortunately, even if the Tree of Life could cultivate to take on a human form, she was confined within the body of the tree. She could not walk in a human form like little Mo. Hence, greed flashed across Qin Yu's eyes the moment she saw Xiao Shu. "All of you stop first." Qin Yu waved her hand and stopped the other maidservants who were rushing towards Yin Luofeng. She said coldly, "You're not a human, nor a spiritual beast. You're a tree that can transform into a human. Am I right?" Xiao Shu snorted. He clearly did not have a good impression of the woman in front of him. "How about following me?" Qin Yu tried her best to smile, but her tone was still cold and arrogant. "You will only be able to unleash your true potential if you follow the Sacred Lady Tribe." In other words, if a treasure like the small tree fell into Yun Luofeng's hands, it would only be a waste of a heavenly treasure. Auntie, you're so ugly. Why should I follow you? Xiao Shu had an innocent smile on his face as his childish voice rang out. Qin Yu's expression suddenly changed, and a cold light flashed across her eyes. Oomph. Then why don't I follow you today? Qin Yu, was the #1 beauty of the Sacred Lady tribe. How dare this little boy claim that she was ugly? How could she swallow this insult? That depends on whether you have the ability to do so. The small tree's smile was still bright, as if it was talking about something unimportant. If you were a spiritual beast or a human, I really wouldn't know how to subdue you, but Qin Yu smiled. The arrogance in her smile was replaced by confidence and determination. You're just a tree person. In addition to the tree of life, the Sacred Maiden tribe also had countless other trees. These trees were all very proud and unwilling to submit. However, the people of the Sacred Maiden tribe could subdue so many tree men. How could they not have a way? After saying that, Qin Yu took out a green whip from her lapel. The whip was made from tree branches, and it faintly emitted a powerful pressure. The naive little tree's face turned pale when it saw the long braid that Qin Yu took out. Its childish voice was filled with anger and murderous intent. Where did you get this whip from? It was the first time that Yin Luofeng had seen Xiao Shu like this. He was a little surprised and looked back at the boy's angry face. Xiao Shu clenched his fists, and his whole body was trembling. Seeing that Qin Yu did not answer him, he raised his voice again and shouted, "Tell me, where did you get this long whip from?" Chapter 1500. Qin Yu was shocked by the sapling's appearance, but she quickly regained her composure and smiled mockingly. This is the sacred tree whip, which has been passed down by the Sacred Maiden tribe for generations. It is said that the ancestors of the Sacred Maiden tribe obtained it from a relic. It is because of this whip that countless Treants have submitted to us. The sapling's face was full of pain. He clutched his head tightly, and the pain caused his forehead to sweat profusely. I have long said that no Treant can escape the palm of the Sacred Maiden tribe. Qin Yu sneered, her face full of sarcasm. Now, you should have tasted this pain? Sapling. Yin Luofeng hurriedly embraced the sapling and patted his back with her palm. Her voice seemed to have a magical power that gradually calmed the agitated sapling. I won't let anything happen to you, she vowed solemnly. Then, she raised her evil eyes slightly, and her gaze fell on Qin Yu, who was standing in front of her. If this sacred tree whip is causing the sapling pain, then I will destroy it. Destroy it? As if she had heard a funny joke, Qin Yu laughed loudly. Her laughter was arrogant and insolent. With just you? That's right, with just me. Yin Luofeng raised her hand, and a long sword appeared in her palm. Hua, cha-cha, come out and help me. Swoosh. As soon as she finished speaking, a fiery red fox appeared in front of Yin Luofeng. At the same time, the fiery red fox's body gradually elongated and turned into a petite and cute little Lolita. The cute little dog that was originally lying on the top of the sapling also jumped down. Its body expanded rapidly, turning from a cute little dog the size of a palm to a fierce spirit dog. A spirit beast at the great sage level? Qin Yu was stunned, and the greed in her eyes intensified. She had initially come to this place because of the Sacred Maiden tribe, but she did not expect to have such a great harvest. Not only did she find a Treant that could transform into a human, but she also found 2 spirit beasts at the great sage level. Master, Bai Zhao's voice became more and more anxious. Don't be fooled by how young Qin Yu looks. In fact, she should have consumed the Sacred Maiden clan's fruit of immortality, causing her appearance to not age. Her strength should be at the mid-level of the Lord Saint. If Xiao Bai was the Holy Maiden clan's descendant, the Holy Maiden clan would definitely take a liking to her. It wouldn't be surprising for them to send a mid-level holy monarch on the continent. Only the continent lords of the top few continents were able to reach the high-level Saint Monarch realm. However, these people could be counted on one hand. Apart from them, only the mid-level Saint Monarchs were the strongest. If Qin Yu's strength had reached the mid-level of the Saint Monarch, it meant that the strength of the Sacred Maiden tribe was not inferior to the few continents, or perhaps even superior. Fire, go, and disturb her. After giving his instructions, Yin Luofeng tiptoed and landed lightly on Ticha's back. Cha-Cha immediately understood Yin Luofeng's meaning and charged towards Qin Yu like the wind. Because the sapling had lost control, the people from the Sacred Maiden tribe who were originally entangled were released. They were just about to help Qin Yu, but at this moment, Xiao, Mo, and Yin Yi blocked in front of them. If you want to find trouble with my master, you have to go through me first. Su Jun's eyes widened bit by bit, and his eyes were filled with horror. He thought that Yin Luofeng's dragon scale armor was her final trump card. He did not expect that she actually hid 2 spirit beasts of the Great Sage realm. Chapter 1501. As for Yin Yi and the young man whom he thought was Yin Luofeng's younger brother, their strength had already reached the high-level Saint Venerable level. Of course, just these 2 points were enough to scare Su Jun to the point of wetting his pants. The next scene that happened almost made him kneel down. Countless gold-seeking mice appeared out of thin air and swarmed towards the maidservants of the Sacred Lady tribe. Under normal circumstances, such a grand scene would definitely be very chaotic. However, these gold-seeking mice seemed to have been trained and were orderly. Under the command of the 2 leaders, they pounced on the maidservants of the Sacred Lady tribe and started gnawing on them. Of the 2 people in the lead, one was a handsome young man, and the other was a beautiful old woman. She wore a crown on her head and looked incomparably noble. Behind the handsome young man stood a sweet young girl. She had a sweet smile on her face, and 2 dimples appeared when she smiled. She was staring at the young man in front of her affectionately. If one thought that this young girl was so pure and sweet that she did not have any deterrent power, then one would be very wrong. Did one not see a disciple of the Xianqing sect who wanted to pounce on the young girl, but ended up being gnawed on by her? Meng Meng, these things are not delicious. After the young man turned his head, he saw the young girl gnawing on the body of the Xianqing sect disciple and frowned. If you are hungry, I will ask Master to give you an elixir. Don't eat these things, or you'll have diarrhea. You should just kill him directly. The sweet young girl blinked her eyes and made an O sound. She bit off the meridians on the neck of the Xianqing sect disciple and dropped the body in her hands. Milk tea, is this right? The young girl's smile was still sweet and innocent. Her face was even more pure. Of course, one had to ignore the blood at the corner of her mouth. The young man turned his head again. At this moment, he saw the young girl sticking out her pink tongue and licking the blood at the corner of her mouth. Coupled with that pure face, there was actually an indescribable temptation. Cough, cough. The Rat Empress saw the lustful look in Milk Tea's eyes. She hurriedly coughed twice and said with a smile, "Let's get rid of these people first, and then go help Master." Milk Tea came back to her senses. She raised her hand and slashed at the enemy in front of her. The look in her eyes was different from before. When she killed, her eyes were full of fierceness and cruelty. So what if it was the Sacred Lady tribe? Those who bully and humiliate their masters will die without a burial. Compared to the other rats who were relatively relaxed, Yin Luofeng and the 2 beasts obviously hadn't been this relaxed in a long time. Qin Yu was very strong. Even in the Sacred Maiden tribe, she was one of the best. Even with TT's speed and fire's interference, Yin Luofeng was still unable to easily hurt her. Master, we can't go on like this. We have to find a way to deal with her. Fire took 2 steps back, frowned slightly, and a hint of anxiety appeared on her pink face. Indeed, Qin Yu was a mid-stage Saint Monarch. Once they reached this level, the difference in levels became very obvious. They could only protect Yin Luofeng from harm, but they couldn't easily get rid of Qin Yu, of course. Qin Yu wasn't feeling good either. She had initially thought that she could easily dispose of someone at Yin Luofeng's level. Who would have thought that after fighting for so long, she still couldn't hurt her? The more Qin Yu thought about it, the more anxious she became. Her face couldn't help but darken. If this were to continue, it would be very disadvantageous to her.